This is Bruce Buffer, and this is the moment you've all been waiting for. It's time for the MMA-Holes!
No way.
From the Santos and DIAZ studios of Arizona, UFC Vegas 50 preview. Ferguson versus Chandler, Stipe versus Tuivasa. These fights are happening. We got Jordan Levitt live. MMA news with the MMA-Holes. Welcome everybody to the Wednesday show. It's good to see everyone. Smash the like button. Shout out to our sponsors. Links are in the description for that. Tonight we have a lot of stuff to get to. Tonight it's UFC Vegas 50 fight week, so we'll tell you later on the show our bets and predictions and all that stuff there. We got Tony Ferguson. Looks like he's fighting Michael Chandler. That looks like it's happening. Round of applause. Oh my God, could you believe it? Tony Ferguson and Michael Chandler. I mean, that's a fan's dream right there. Stipe Miocic versus Tuivasa, Shuivaza. Oh, my God. Oh, keep clapping. Keep it going in the chat. Come on. Well, we're going to start off this show here with a special guest. This man, 9-1 UFC fighter. We watched him live on the Contender Series. We've seen him compete in the UFC. This guy is the most unique athlete I've ever seen inside an octagon. And I really am looking forward to talking to the future legend, Jordan, the Monkey King, Levitt. Here we go, baby. Jordan, welcome to the show, my friend.
Oh, I'm glad to be here. Thanks for inviting me on.
It's a flying circus that we've been doing this for 5 years, and it's just a silly mess.
Well, we'll have a lot of fun then.
There we go. Jordan, now listen, I really appreciate you coming on. I've been watching your YouTube channel. You launched the YouTube channel. How could the people find that channel?
Yeah, just look up Jordan Levitt, like BookTube on YouTube. I do book reviews and stuff. Because when I'm not training or running or dieting, or being a dad, doing all those things, I'm usually, nose deep in a book. And I finally started, trying to find a community where I could talk about that. So I have a book review YouTube channel.
There you go. Go check that out, his YouTube channel. I noticed you had a Stephen King shirt on. I'm not the biggest of readers, but when I was a kid, Stephen King was like one of my heroes.
Oh, yeah. He's my favorite author. I'm only like a third of the way through his bibliography. And, yeah, I like some spooky things. I hate scary movies, but I love Stephen King books. I like, the feel he brings. And, yeah, it's definitely... He was one of the first authors I started reading when I started reading fiction like 3 years ago, and I'm very partial to him.
So that's actually pretty interesting. So you don't like scary movies, but you are a fan of Stephen King. How does that work out? So you don't sit through any of his movies?
Oh no, I probably watched like 5 or 6 scary movies in my entire life. The best part about a scary book, you get to a part and you're feeling like some tension. And you think something's about to make you scared, you could just close the book. And no one's going to judge you. Unlike when you're watching a scary movie with friends and you want to look away, like, no, you have to look. You don't have to, when you're reading a book, they can't make you, rush through a scene you don't want to see. So for me, it's very easy to kind of get the,
That's interesting that you say that. When I met my wife, my co-host, she does not like scary movies at all. I'm like force feeding her. I have my brain scrambled up. I don't know what's going on. I love scary movies. I love horrible things happen. I don't know why. I think I have mental illness. But my wife, on the other hand, she doesn't like it at all. So maybe I should wean her in with reading the scary books first so she can bounce besides leaving the room when she's with me. Perhaps. It's a good idea. Jordan, it's a pleasure having you on this stream tonight. I know you're getting ready for a fight coming up next month, correct? I mean, you're right back on the saddle. What's going on next month? You pumped up? You ready for this fight?
I'm not sure I'm ever really pumped up per se. I'm always excited to like challenge myself and Victor Martinez. I'm excited to meet him on April 16. He broke the record for Contender Series for most significant strikes landed for the weight class. So I'm going to try to make sure he doesn't break a record on my face. And I'm pretty excited to give it a try. Started the diet this week, so I'm feeling a little under the weather for the most part, but I'm feeling quite hopeful.
Now, when we found you on the Contender Series, we do a lot of fight reactions. Every UFC event we're doing them, we do them on the Contender Series as well. It's kind of like our thing. And when we were reacting to your fight, I was like, what is going on? I couldn't believe it. Like, you get the finish, you jump into the split. It was like, I wasn't sure if I was watching a Broadway play or some carnage or the mixture of both. Where does this come from? When you were a kid, were you a gymnast or something? Or what's the backstory on this?
No, I didn't do any kind of sports until freshman year of high school. I did wrestling, and then I quit wrestling because I was, weak and frail and very slight when I was that age. But I kind of like hit puberty, like freshman summer. I kind of put in like 40 pounds. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna give, wrestling a try again. And I'm not incredibly macho, as y'all can see, and I'm not very intimidating, and I don't have like the whole buff physique thing going for me. Was not genetically gifted in that way, but I could always do the splits. I could always do like a front split. And I remember one time before a wrestling match, I was like, what's something weird that'll like make my opponent think? And I just dropped into a split right before the match, and everybody laughed, and then I beat him. And it's kind of been a thing where it started off as a joke, and now it's kind of my thing.
So you're saying you had a match where you dropped into a split before you even started fighting?
Yeah. My junior year for wrestling, it was like my friend's like, I bet you won't. I'm like, I'll do something stupid, watch. And then I did it. And fast forward 11 years, I'm still doing it.
That's amazing. That's something. Now, in a UFC fight, do you plan on doing this in a UFC fight to freak out your opponent, or no?
I'm always afraid because I'm always afraid if I like drop into it before the round starts, like I'll get like stuck and I'll have a little embarrassing moment where I'm trying to like shimmy myself out of a split. I've thought about it, but I'm like, or if I do a split and then like 10 seconds later I get flying knee knocked out, I don't want that to be like in one little 15-second clip on Instagram. So I save the splits until after I know I won't be embarrassed.
I'm looking at your Instagram too. I mean, you got some Instagram. Go give him a follow. It's monkeyking_UFC. I noticed your last post over here. It says, come April 16th, I'm off to battle wearing nothing but booty shorts and a smile. I mean, look at this. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, it was a little funny moment. My wife, when we were dating, she knew nothing about MMA. Mm-hmm. And it was actually kind of like a negative against me because she thought I was like some dumb jock, and maybe I am. But she like, I was showing her my fights, just trying to show her how cool it was, and the first thing she said was like, "Why are you wearing like Spanx?" And I was like, I guess they kind of do look like Spanx, and when you fight, they ride up, and I got a big butt, so they kind of fill out the shorts. Looks very indecent on me. So I was kind of a little inside joke between me and my wife about my booty shorts or my Spanx. So, yeah.
I tell you what, your personality is something else. Like, I was watching, like, from the Contender Series, and I was following you through the rest of your fights, your celebrations afterwards, the whole thing up in the arms. Bruce Buffer made you do it twice when you did the whole leap?
Yeah, the lift. So it's really funny because for that fight, we were supposed to be on the undercard, but then 3 fights fell out. So they put me on the main card, which I did not deserve because I am still nobody, but I was definitely a nobody for my UFC debut. And so backstage, since we had an extra hour and a half to prepare, we probably practiced the lift from Dirty Dancing for like 45 minutes. So most fighters, when they warm up, you know, they're like hitting pads, looking cool, shadow boxing for the camera. We're just like playing. I've had the time of my life, and I'm like jumping into my you know, corner's arms, and I almost got injured before that fight. Like, we like dropped me a few times. So I got it. We nailed it perfectly. And Bruce Buffer's like, there's no way I missed something like that. You have to do it again. So yeah, I did it twice. Wish I didn't have to do it twice. Some people thought it was tacky or insensitive, but it was all good.
It's funny. We live in a world right now where the Colby Covingtons, the Conor McGregors, the trash talk, all that crazy stuff's going on. And here you are making a name, just having a good time. There's no shit talking. There's no like, oh, I'm going to F you up and this and that. You're just whimsically going through this career. It's kind of refreshing.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, for me, I've never really needed animosity to fight somebody. Like, you could talk crap, or you could say something about my wife, my mama, you know, how I'm soft, this, and that. We're still going to fight. And obviously, if I was scared, I wouldn't have signed on the dotted line. So I think it's really funny when fighters try to get in people's heads, and you're not going to get under my skin. Like, I'm a guy who had a mohawk in wrestling and did the splits before wrestling matches. Like, I've grown some pretty thick skin. People have been making fun of me for, you know, more than a decade. So for me, it's like when fighters try to be all tough or tag you and stuff on social media, I kind of get a kick out of that, because you're the villain, you know, and no one wants the villain to win. And so when we look back on the fight camps and the before, you know, stuff, I'm okay. I don't need to be the bad A or the villain. I'll just be, you know, the nice little lovable, friendly neighborhood like protagonist.
So getting into mixed martial arts, wrestling, the whole deal, when you were younger, were you bullied or anything like that going in? Is that why you got into the sport? I usually ask most fighters this, but out of curiosity, I mean, your situation, I mean, it seems like there might have been some bullying. Was there some going on when you were a kid?
A little bit in like middle school and like the early part of high school. I feel like when you're weird or awkward, and I was very introverted for probably until about my senior year of high school. I really tried to keep to myself. I didn't really have a lot of confidence in who I was and all these things. And some people bullied me, made fun of me. I'm like, oh, because I'm not incredibly macho. And when you wrestle, people think wrestling's gay. Though that's, you know, back then that's the derogatory term for it. Made fun of me for that. And it used to get under my skin, but then I kind of just realized that like everyone goes through life like this imaginary audience, and people really just like live lives of desperation because they care about what everyone's thinking about them.
Yeah.
And I kind of had an epiphany like my senior year of high school where it's like, I could either choose to let these people bug me and affect the way I'm thinking and be unhappy, or I can just choose to be happy. And I've kind of been, for the most part, happy since that, you know, little epiphany. That's
great. And how long before you met your wife? How long were you with your wife?
I met my wife a little bit over 3 years ago. So what year is it? I think like October of 2019, we started talking. We got married. 2018, and we got married in June of 2019. So we were engaged like in less than 4 months, married in less than 8 months, and now we have a baby and all the good things. So she's been around for the last little bit of it. It's been nice. I've really enjoyed being the family man.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Listen, I got married, when was it? I don't even remember. It was last year, 2 years ago, something like that. But anyway, we got married in a weird way during the coronavirus. We spit out a baby, 10 months old now. And it's like my head's spinning. You being married and being a UFC fighter, how did your wife, when you first met her, how did she handle the fact that you're like, hey, I'm an aspiring mixed martial artist and, you know, this is my dream? Was she like freaked out by it?
Surprisingly, maybe this is why I picked her. You know, everyone else I dated before that point, they kind of were either like, okay, so this guy's either really good, he's eventually going to make it, or he's delusional. And a lot of people, when you have a dream that's not typical, a lot of people just think you're delusional. So I felt like a lot of the times when I was dating people, I was always trying to convince them, like, no, I'm actually pretty good at this. And this could amount to something, as opposed to it being like a waste of potential. But like my wife, I remember when we first started dating, the plan was still to pursue fighting, but on the side, pursue finishing my degree and going to law school. And I was kind of like trying to make the UFC thing happen before I had to like commit to law school, because that's a lot of money and a big commitment. My wife basically told me, like, you're not a lawyer. You're not a lawyer. You don't want to be a lawyer. You should really just focus on your dream. And she, you know, basically, she, you know, was very luckily things worked out a lot earlier than we anticipated. She like worked and allowed me to train full time for the first 6 months of our like marriage, and everything really fell into place. But she was always been very supportive. Her family's always been very supportive, and especially considering most of my family, barring my parents, kind of looked down on the whole fight. And think it was actually nice to finally have a family that, you know, supported me and helped me achieve my goals.
It's kind of wild how everything just came together at the right time. It's crazy, right? So before pre-wife, like, was everything coming together? Were you in disarray? I mean, it's kind of wild because I feel like everything just started happening at once, right? You get married, you have the kid, the UFC, the whole thing starts snowballing. Like, do you feel like there was a point in your life where something just switched?
Yeah, like it was really like a different act of my life. We got married, and we realized like I have a really bad like gluten thing. I have celiac disease, and so does my wife. So I stopped eating gluten when we got married because I didn't want to cross-contaminate her. And I started getting like heavier, but not like fat. So then I had a weight cut like in June when we first got married. Like a few months after we got married, I had a weight cut, and I had kidney failure because I, you know, got a little bit denser, a little bit healthier, and it forced me to move up a weight class. So then it finally was easy for me to eventually start getting more fights, because when I was at 45, especially because I only like fought one person with a losing record before I got to the UFC. I only fought like one person, and they were making their debut, and everybody else I fought was undefeated, like myself. So no one would fight me. And then once I was forced to move up a weight class, people finally started accepting fights, and everything really came together because of a few little changes. And then we got pregnant. I fought an LFA. 18 days later, I fought in the Contender Series.
Wow.
And then months later, I had my contract. Like, it was literally like a crazy, like, 9 months of my life where I went up like 3 tax brackets and everything just changed.
That's a wild story. You got my interest with the celiac thing because my brother's child, or my nephew, has celiac disease. And is it a disease? I don't even know. Honestly, I don't know too much about it, but I know it's serious. And he also has a nut allergy on top of it. But the celiac thing, when did you get diagnosed with that?
I got diagnosed like around March or April of 2020, or at the end of 2019. I got officially diagnosed in the beginning of 2020 because we were all, you know, stuck inside. So I may as well go to the doctor, you know, and got tested. And, you know, yeah, it's an autoimmune disease. It means that gluten, which is a protein that's common in foods with wheat, barley, and rye, it destroys the cilia of your stomach, and it makes it so you can't absorb nutrients. So I always thought I had this crazy metabolism because I could eat as much as I want and not gain weight. But it was actually because my body wasn't absorbing any nutrients. So the moment I started not eating the stuff that I couldn't absorb, I started gaining weight and putting on muscle. So it's a good way. It was a good, byproduct of me, changing my life. A lot of people, when they're forced to switch their diet, it's pretty jarring. But since I feel a lot better, I'm a lot healthier. It's been awesome.
That's pretty wild, man. So you found it kind of late, and then you met your wife, and she has celiac too. So did you meet at a celiac I don't know, meeting or something? Like or it was just fate?
Just fate, just coincidental. Like, we met on a dating app, and she lived 5 hours away, and leap of faith. Okay, I'm gonna meet this girl, But it was more of a gimmick. Okay, I match with this girl who's 5 hours away. Let's see how this really goes, and we really hit it off. Everything just that year makes no sense to me when I think about it logically, because a lot of things happened that I wouldn't have actually made that decision in a normal circumstance, and God's looking out for me.
That's crazy.
What can I say? When you do the right thing, it happen.
If you're just jumping in, we're live with Jordan Leavitt, the Monkey King of the UFC. He's got a fight coming up against Victor Martinez. Very exciting fighter, and very much looking forward to speaking to him right now. So this is exciting. I've been trying to get a hold of you. I've been sliding into the DMs. You get a lot of people sliding in, hey, can I interview you? Blah, blah, blah. It's got to be annoying, right?
Not so many people want to interview me. Mostly it's people heckling me and making fun of me. So I actually don't generally check inbox, message requests from people I don't know, because especially, and it all started when I got my contract and I, choked the guy out and I fall into a split. The UFC posted on their page, that's how you start a season. Heart eye emoji and a rainbow. Okay, so they kind of outed me. And that's, and it was very jarring because like, I all of a sudden I was like the first gay UFC fighter. Okay. And eventually that guy will be there and he'll be very famous. So that guy's not me. So it went from like, oh, look at this, gay guy doing his splits and the UFC, like, oh, look what they're doing. And then I announced that my wife's pregnant, and then it was like, oop, like, a big old U-turn. And like, so in my inbox, it was like a bunch of, like penis pictures, and like making fun of me. And then it's like, how dare you trick us? Like you try to play the gay card. So I didn't play anything, man. Like it was all very jarring. So since then, I've been very careful not to read too many messages. Because it's always some guy with an Islam Makhachev profile picture telling me all these mean things.
That's actually pretty funny. It's funny you tell that story because we had Chris Curtis on and he told us the exact same story. And I was kind of leading into that. I'm glad that you went in naturally because I was going to say, what about the dick pics? So it is a true story that Chris told here.
Oh yeah, for sure. Chris has been there with me for years, and he's counseled me. He's like giving me some advice about how to deal with a lot of things during this whole like crazy fight thing. But yeah, true story. It was embarrassing, but it's fun.
It has to be pretty wild. Here you are, a normal guy, right? You're training, you're doing your thing. The UFC calls you, boom, you're in the Contender Series, you win. Next thing you know, you're a professional UFC fighter. Tell me about the call. I want to know like what happened when the UFC gave you a ring.
So I was fishing for crawfish with my wife's family and like the creek next to Minersville, Utah. So kind of middle of nowhere. And I was going through an entire box of like orange cream ice cream bars, like a 48 pack. And I was about like 30 deep. So I've been chomping on these for about 2 days. Okay. And my agent called me, Lance, and he's like, Jordan, we have a fight for you in 18 days. And I'm like, not interested. I have some money from the last fight. That's a little, last minute. And I'm kind of pigging out right now. He's like, it's the Contender Series. I'm like, okay, cool. Tell him yes. And then we looked at my opponent, and I was very happy that I said yes because I felt pretty good about the fight. And it all kind of sped up from there. I really liked how in Contender Series in the promo, it kind of made me out to be the villain a little bit. It made me kind of seem a lot more like me, and like I'm going to, go out there, meticulously pick this guy apart and this, and this. And I was like, dang, I look pretty intense in the promo. And then I went out there and then I did the splits and, I'm pretty sure for people who are kind of making up their minds about me, I may have put them through a loop. So
I tell you what, when we watched it, I'm going to admit it. I thought you were gay. I was watching. I was like, oh my God, this is the first gay UFC fight. I couldn't believe it. I was like, this is amazing, right? I'm like, he's my favorite guy. This guy's amazing. And then we found out that you had the baby and this and that. And I was like, okay, well, maybe is he in disguise? I don't know what's going on here, but it does suck. Like, I kind of feel like a dick because it does suck that we automatically big burly like bearded men are just like, oh, this guy's gay, like it's gotta get annoying after a while with people constantly referring to you as the gay UFC fighter, right? Or do you like, fuck it?
Sometimes, so like I was talking to Sean Strickland, and he's a bad influence. Maybe I shouldn't listen to him, but he was like, I could really leverage this, and I'm like, I definitely could, but that seems disingenuous. And I was like, he's like, imagine this. Your main event in San Francisco, 49er Stadium, that could be you if you just lie. And I'm like, it's a dream. It's a nice dream, but it's not my dream, But does it really bug me? Not too much, like I understand I'm rather effeminate, like free spirit type of person. It just bugs me. People try to tell me like, oh no, you just don't know you're gay yet. And like some people tease you like that, like, oh, you don't know, but they're like, oh, plenty of gay men like women and have children and they don't figure it out. And I'm like, dude, I'm a jiu-jitsu specialist. I'm rolling with men 8 hours a day. Like, I think I'd realize if I liked men, like I've had bubblegum ice cream enough to realize it's not my favorite flavor, so yeah, it's not really frustrating when they think I'm gay because it's actually a nice little conversation piece because a lot of even UFC fighters, they still assume it. When they come and talk to me, they're like, oh yeah, are you gay? And I'm like, no. Like Ode Osborne, he's a Jamaican American fighter out of my gym. He thought I was gay up until he like was out of our gym for several months. He's like, oh, I was surprised to figure out you weren't gay. I'm like, and he was a little sad about it. I'm like, yeah, sorry, I'm not that hero.
It would be hilarious if all of a sudden Sean Strickland came out as gay. That would be the amazing plot twist, right? Sean Strickland, man's man, all of a sudden is playing with, boys' parts. What do you think?
He could totally. I could picture Sean Strickland after a fight. He's like, "There's nothing manlier than, dominate another man," and people would believe him.
So, are you training out of Extreme Couture now? Where are you training?
Oh, I train out of Syndicate primarily. My last camp I did a few weeks at Couture's because I wanted to get some different training partners and stuff. But the Syndicate is definitely my main gym. But I do have good relationships with people at Couture's, and it's kind of a revolving door between people. They kind of, for a few years I'll go to Couture's, I'll go to Syndicate. They bounce back and forth. And, there's a little bit of a rivalry there, so we're competing for UFC fighters. But I like Couture's. I like to work out there from time to time. It's a good team, but Syndicate's my home, so.
What do you think about the guys that stay loyal to just one gym and everyone's like, all the fans are yelling, "Oh, you got to leave, you got to leave." Like if there's a losing streak or something like that. Do you kind of get on those fighters if they don't leave their gym, or should they stay? Like, how does it work?
It's like, it depends on every fighter's particular situation. For me, I always made a goal that loyalty is never going to be my great weakness. Okay. So there's nothing wrong with growing apart from something that's worked with you for years, decades, dozens, 20, 30 fights, if it's not working for you anymore. But then sometimes it's really sad, like the Diego Sanchez situation. Like, the camp wasn't the problem. He was taken away from his home. So I feel like as long as the fighter chooses of his own free will and choice without being coerced, it's a really positive thing. But a lot of fighters, they leave their gyms in a abrupt or incorrect way, and a lot of fighters avoid that communication, and I feel like that's where a lot of the drama happens. For me, especially I'm a very non-confrontational person, I had to kind of figure out how to navigate the whole, "Why are you training at Couture's? Are you jumping ship?" And I'm like, "No, I'm just trying to I've always been at Syndicate, it's worked for me, but I just wanted to see for a little bit, and now I'm kind of like a Vegas nomad. I'm mostly out of Syndicate, but I go other places."
That's great. You get the best of every gym. You can't beat that, right? You bring up Diego Sanchez and that whole thing with Joshua Fabia. I mean, do you think they were having relations together? What do you think? What are your honest thoughts?
No, I think it's general cult psychology. Diego was going through a divorce of his wife, and then this person, and he's an old guy at a very old gym, and maybe he's out of the spotlight. He kind of has always been kind of a weird loner person. Those are often people that are preyed upon by, cult people or very controlling, manipulative people. And I think he was just a perfect mark to be manipulated and to be used. And I don't think it was a sexual or romantic relationship, but at least on Diego's part, I think maybe Joshua was manipulative and controlling in that type of way, but I don't think it was a consensual relationship. No.
Interesting. And what do you think about, he's fighting in Eagle FC coming up this Friday against Kevin Lee. Do you think that's a lamb to the slaughter? What do you think about that matchup?
I mean, that just seems wrong. Kevin Lee is very talented. And he was just a man stuck between two weight classes, too small for 70, too big for 55. And, they're definitely using Diego as a springboard. And I just feel at this point, Kevin Lee's more popular than Diego Sanchez. And it kind of seems like Khabib's trying to, get Kevin Lee to think that they're taking care of him. And then they're going to, throw him some crazy Russian guys. It seems a bit wrong, but that's often how combat sports go. You feed the old to the young, and it's all dirty business.
With a style like yours, you see this influx of Russian talent coming in, the crotch sniffers or whatever the people want to call them. But I mean, it's a clear path to a championship. These guys with that ground game seems like it's the way, and you kind of have these tools that are, that can compete with something like this. So do you salivate when you see these guys doing so well and up in the rankings with their grappling? Does this really excite you?
Yes, and it's because that's the meta right now. A lot of fighters, to be frank, they have horrible jiu-jitsu, especially in terms of their guard work or their bottom work. And so a lot of fighters, to avoid that, they use the cage to stand up. And the whole Dagestani system's about attacking posts and punishing people for trying to stand up. But you see, whenever a lot of people choose to use guard work, they don't usually get beat up by the Dagestanis too bad. Like, there's a very talented African-French lightweight, Mansour Barnoui, and he has had great success outside of the UFC about beating like a bunch of Khabib stablemates, because he's like, okay, I can't beat you in wrestling. But when they take him down, instead of trying to stand up, he attacks for submissions and goes for the sweeps, and that opens up the stand-up. And I feel like a lot of fighters are using the cage as a crutch, and I feel like in a few years they'll start, focusing more on, a ground game without utilizing the cage, and the meta is going to change. But right now it's very exciting to see the domination of a lot of top-heavy grapplers, and it's, a good omen, I think, for myself.
Yeah, and well, you bring up like opening up the striking and stuff like that. Colby Covington seems like a guy who's a fantastic wrestler, but his striking, it's because everyone's afraid of getting taken down. Am I correct with that? Or like, is that the success for him?
Yeah, 100%. Like, when people are preparing to sprawl the entire fight, they turn into a punching bag. You can't, bob and weave and parry and sprawl at the same time. So if you're a wrestler and the person's not going to take you down, you kind of have like free reign to just throw something crazy, because if they really want to hit you with something significant in return, they open themselves up to, the clinch or the takedown. And it's not so much about causing damage, it's about controlling the amount of time. And Colby Covington does a really good job at controlling the tempo and where the fight takes place, because even when he's not scoring, he's not getting scored on in a way that's too damaging. So he just does a really good job of controlling the time he has in the rounds.
That's pretty interesting. It's a fast. I tell you what, the UFC is so interesting because you got all these different styles going at each other. 1 minute this is popular, the next, jiu-jitsu was the thing, then wrestling, then jiu-jitsu, and sambo, and whatever the hell is thrown in there. But I look at your resume and that inverted triangle. I'm sure you're probably exhausted talking about that, but it's still amazing that you are in the history books with that inverted triangle over there. When you hit things like that, do you look to go for those specialty moves, those unique moves on people, or does it just fall into place?
I actually am like a really strong believer in the basics. But when you're known as a good grappler and people, they're gonna drill defense to the basic moves like guillotines, this and that. But the fancy moves always work when you defend the basic moves. So I feel like when you have solid fundamentals, you get to have fun. And so my last fight, Matt said, my corners are yelling at me to sprawl, and I'm like, no, I think I'm fine here. I don't want to sprawl. So he takes me down, and he didn't want to get in my guard, so he goes to pass, and that's when the inverted triangle happened. It's funny because a few years ago, I thought that move was a gimmick. I didn't really believe in it. But then I started training a lot more with Neil Melanson, and he's like an old school guy, Randy Couture's grappling coach, a nice highest stand system grappler from like under Carl Parisian and Gokor, and he loves that move, and I kind of started having more belief and faith in that move, and now it's one of my best moves. Like, whenever I tap a top guy, it's a good chance it's an inverted triangle. It's a sneaky move that people don't respect, and I think I'll be the first fighter to get more than one of them in the UFC.
Interesting. Yeah, I'd be afraid to go on the ground with you, man. You're a scary dude. And the slam. Talk about that slam here. You wasted no time. You're like, okay, I want to go to the after party. Like, what happened? You just let me just drill this guy into the mat. What does that feel like?
Okay, so a lot of emotions. Didn't feel good. I had never knocked out anybody before. Even when I spar, if I hurt somebody, I don't swarm on them. I try to always protect my partners. So when I fought and I picked them up, I've always thought about what I'd do if someone jump guard like that, And Gerald Harris, who underrated fighter who used to be in the UFC, but got released. He basically has 4 knockouts the exact same way that I slammed Matt Wyman. The same frame and everything. I learned it from watching his fights, and I didn't really honestly thought I slammed him that hard. I thought I kind of did I thought I did just enough to kind of knock the wind out of him. So when I went to go follow up with a strike and he was out, it was actually very surprising and jarring. And it was actually really scary because all the doctors come rushing in, and he doesn't wake up for 9 minutes. And then I start to cry. And so then they go commercial break because it doesn't look good when a fighter knocks a guy out and then starts bawling, So it was an emotional roller coaster. And then he woke up and, tried to talk to his wife a little bit, which, was kind of awkward. But I felt like I had to go talk to her because I'm like, why would you bring your wife in your corner? But also, like, it had to be very jarring for her. So I'm like, I'm sorry. My husband's a good man. And, all that. It was just an emotional roller coaster. And then we got to the limo and things, we're all excited. I'm still pretty somber. And I got the bonus. It was a crazy 24 hours. And I felt like so much peace before that fight. I was like, this is my time. Like, my fight got moved to the main card. There's a big spotlight on me. Like, everything's falling into place for me. Yeah, and I made it. Like, in my head, I didn't really care if I won. Because, like, that was always my dream, to make that walk, to prove everybody wrong that I could make it to that stage. And then when it all just worked out so perfectly, I'm just so thankful. I just wish it wasn't so scary at that moment.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. You get the arm triangle choke in the Contender Series, then you follow it with the slam as your actual debut to the UFC. I mean, now the sky's the limit, right? Now you're like, okay, I'm here. I've made my my debut. I'm effective. I could smash people, and then you follow it with a unanimous decision loss, but then bounce back with the inverted triangle choke. So coming off the loss, going into your next fight after that, what was your mindset? You're like, hey, I'm going to finish this next opponent, or what were you thinking after the loss?
After I lost, right after we got backstage, my wife called me. And the first thing she says, you feel good about it? And I was like, yeah, I do. Because I've always had a lot of anxiety about losing. Because when you're on the regional scene, if you lose a fight, that knocks back your UFC aspirations, years, Mm-hmm. A loss in the record really pushes you back. And I was always convinced if I lost, no one would love me anymore. They'd think I was lucky. People wouldn't want to believe in me, and it'd prove everybody right that doubted me. So when I lost, and I realized I'm not brittle, and the world, it wasn't the end of the world, and I was still a good fighter, and it wasn't my night. It felt really good. Actually, it took a lot of weight off my shoulders, and so I was really, really calm for the fight with Matt Sales. I felt happy because I already, went through the worst, barring getting highlight reel knockout or having Chris Wyman leg break or something like that. Nothing, it doesn't get much worse than that. So it felt really kind of freeing to walk out there and to not have any expectations on me, because after the slam knockout, everybody wanted to talk to me. Sure. Then after my loss, nobody wanted to talk to me, and it was kind of nice. It gave me some time for self-reflection.
It's pretty wild. I'm just going through your Tapology here. I mean, through your amateurs, your pro, you collect your first loss in the UFC at the biggest of stages. But like you said, it's still very early in your career. And guys like Islam Makhachev, who this is why I think Islam is going to be better than Khabib. Khabib didn't experience a loss. He got out when he was on top before he could ever take that loss. Whereas Islam experienced that one loss, and he probably learned a tremendous amount from that loss. I feel he's even more scary. So in a situation like you're in, you collect the loss, you come back with this triangle choke. I mean, now all of a sudden, you have all the tools to surge up the rankings. Yeah,
I'm very hopeful. I'm not sure I would have felt hopeful if I was on a 3-0 streak. Mm-hmm. In the UFC, I would have always had this little nagging voice in the back of my head, maybe you're just getting lucky, people don't know about your weaknesses, this and that. It's all gonna come back and get you, Mm-hmm. I always felt like I was gonna get punished for some past mistake I made. Okay, I must have screwed up somebody really bad if it's all going so well for me. It's just for the carpet to get kind of pulled out from underneath me. I was always afraid of something bad happening to me, and then a bad thing happened, and I was like, dang, I've been scared for the past 8 years, this entire fighting career, about what just happened. And I went on a date with my wife 2 hours later, and there was nothing wrong. I had sparring sessions that were worse. So I'm really actually glad I had the loss, and I got it out of the way early when people still, don't really know who I am.
There you go. Now I got to ask you this question because we're the MMA-Holes. After you slam a man into the canvas, what's the sex like after a fight like that? Your wife must be completely aroused, no?
I mean, I think so. I think if I was one, I'd be like, okay, we're $20,000 richer. That makes a guy very attractive.
You just spread them bonus money on the bed. Is that what happens?
Yeah, when you win the bonus, you walk in, red panty night. It's guess what? we're lower middle class now. That's a penny dropper right there.
That's amazing. So, I mean, listen, all jokes aside here, it is a very impressive story, and it's still very early, right? So now, in the beginning, before you got into the UFC, was there a guy, an athlete that you looked up to and said, hey, I want to be this person?
I mean, it sounds very like prideful to say like no. I've always kind of like saw myself as myself. I mean, I like admire a lot of athletes. I admire Gegard Mousasi. I admire Lyoto Machida, Ryan Hall, Ben Askren, Khabib. But like, I never really wanted to emulate them. I've always kind of wanted to like be my own fighter. And I've always, because I'm not them. If I try to be them, I'm just going to be a second-rate them. But I just try to be the fighter that I want to be. Like, I feel like that's how I'll reach my highest potential. Like, I've never lived my life trying to follow somebody else's blueprint. I've always tried to go, make my own path. And so, even though I respect so many fighters in this sport, I've had so many fighters to look up to in my career, I'm not trying to be them. Like, and one, influence my fight career that really like affected my psyche and like my willingness to like, remain myself is Roxanne Modafferi. I met her very early in my fight career, and she had a profound influence on me to kind of remain myself and not to worry about, trying to, walk in somebody else's shoes. And I'm really thankful for her influence.
You guys are very similar. Now I'm thinking about it. I've seen in previous interviews that you guys are tight and that you looked up to her. And just noticing your mannerisms and everything like that, it seems like you and Roxy kind of rubbed off on each other. So you guys like BFFs?
We're really good friends. Her BFF is always Serena. But me and Roxy have known each other for 10 years. And right when we met, it was right after her first stint on The Ultimate Fighter, and she lost her UFC debut. And I just really got to watch her turn her entire career around. And she's just a fighter who didn't have a lot of things going for her. She was already kind of an old fighter when she was on The Ultimate Fighter the first time. Mm-hmm. And her dream was always just to make it to the UFC, and then that didn't work out the first time. And just to watch her have this career resurgence and to have several upsets and to kind of accomplish her dreams without being athletic and without all these things, it was, very inspiring. And we're very similar. I've had a lot of people say I'm like the male version of Roxy, like I'm going to take up her mantle, and I'm honored, but I'm not Roxy. I can't ever be Roxy. She's a very unique, human being, and I'm weird, and we're both weird, but I think my weird's different. Like, she's a diamond, I'm like a ruby or something.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, yeah, your fighting style, I mean, it's extremely unique, I would say, and your celebrations as well. What about trash talk in the cage? You guys yap back and forth to each other, or is it all business?
I talk. I don't really say, like, oh, that was all you got, but, like, I'll say something like, that was a good shot, or, like, oh, close but no cigar, like, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But I don't usually talk crap. But I'm not averse to it. Like, if they start it, but usually it's hard to talk crap when someone's, squeezing your head with their legs, A lot of guys don't have really the opportunity to talk crap to me. Like, when I was fighting Claudio, and in the third round I was on bottom, and I was just like, come on, man, at least hit me. Because he was kind of, like, holding me. I'm like, at least hit me. And then, like, he stood up and postured really high, and I was like, okay, you're ready to parry. And he punched me, like, right in the belly button. And I almost, like, crapped my pants, okay? And I was like, oh, no, anywhere, but not in the belly. Hit me in the face. And then he just kept hitting me in the belly. But,
Wait, you said not in the belly? You told him that?
Yeah, but not in the belly, please.
Oh, that's amazing.
I had, like, a black eye or something, not make me crap myself on national television.
We had Justine Kish on. I don't know if you recall Justine Kish, the UFC fighter that actually did crap in the octagon. Are you aware of this?
Is that Justine?
Yeah, Justine. Oh, I mean, yeah, Justine Kish. I think she fought Felice Herrig. I think that's who she was fighting.
Rear naked choked, and then she crapped over the mat.
Yeah. Is that so? What happens before a fight? Do you try to empty yourself out and say, "Hey, I don't want that to happen to me"? Like, I mean, how's that work? For sure, because one of my teammates, Corey Hendricks, his last amateur fight,
he ruined this guy's life. So like he throws one head kick, breaks the guy's arm, throws another head kick, breaks the guy's hand and fractures orbital, and then he chokes him out and the guy craps himself. And I was like, damn, I never want any of those things to happen to me. But all the broken bones, I was like, please don't let me ever crap myself in front of a bunch of strangers and my family. Like, I don't even eat on fight days. I'm afraid of, like, you know, bowel movement like in there. That's terrifying. Yeah, she's a champ. She just like went online and said shit happened. So I'm like, damn, that's the perfect way to respond to that. I wouldn't survive. I'm not sure.
yeah, Justine was a trooper, man. She was hilarious talking about it. She really handled it well. I mean, it's not like something you see much. So you do take precautions before. That's actually kind of interesting. What about nerves? When was the most nervous you've ever been walking up to towards the cage?
My last amateur fight against Julius Tashini, I believe that was 2015 or 2016. I'm not sure. But I had just gotten back from having knee surgery, and I fought like 5 months after that. And I shouldn't have been cleared, but I kind of like lied about the doctor about me feeling pain because, you know, as I was saying, I was in a race to do this. I either was going to go to law school or fight. I couldn't do both. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I couldn't really like run or even change direction or shoot on that leg properly. So I went into that fight and I was like, I have, you know, half a leg, and I had put so much extra weight on myself that I was like terrified before I walked out. And it took me about like 3 minutes to kind of really warm up and realize, okay, I can still do this with one leg. That was probably the only time I was really like nervous. And then my fight against Claudio, there's so many things happened with that camp. And then I picked a horrible walkout song that just really like made me so anxious. I walked out to Pippin's song from Lord of the Rings. It made me so mellow. About to cry walking out to the cage. Like my voice cracked. I'm like, I love you guys. But to my corner, you know? So the only two times I really had negative feelings before my fight was those.
So how do you... So, I mean, that was a while back. Your last amateur fight, and you roll through the pro rankings, and you roll into the UFC. How do you keep cool then? How do you zone out and zen before? Is it your walkout song?
Okay, so I've always walked out to fun songs that like make me laugh. Mm-hmm. I feel like humor's a defense mechanism in many ways for me. But like I used to walk out to The Lion Sleeps Tonight. I did that for like 6 fights in a row. So when like your opponent's walking out to Hail Mary by Tupac, and it's like really hype, and then you like hear hee, like you guys walking out, and I'm all like wearing my pajamas, kind of marching out. It helps me really like relax a little bit. And also I don't really feel adrenaline that way. Like I just, statistically speaking, a fight's not the most dangerous thing I'll do every day of my life. Driving is. There's so many more things I do that are more dangerous, that have a higher chance of affecting me negatively. And if I can go through life and not be paralyzed by anxiety or fear, I can go through a fist fight for 15 minutes, 25 minutes if I have to. It's not that crazy. It's just a fight at the end of the day. And, you know, I had all sisters, but with my friends, we used to just beat the crap out of each other. You know, but that was for free on like a front lawn. So I could, you know, sack up for 15 minutes.
Man, that's the perfect way to think about it. I bet if any fighters are watching right now, they'd be like, okay, I got to get that mindset going, because guys like Cowboy Cerrone say even to this day, when they do that walk, they're terrified. So it's kind of wild. Are you a serial killer or something? Like, how do you maintain that? You have anyone buried in the backyard?
I mean, maybe under the floorboards, but you know, like for me, it's so much fun. Like, you know, I'm coming off as like kind of serial killery, but like when you like fight another man, that's like one way I connect with Sean Strickland. Like there was like no more primal way to like show where the hierarchy is at between two individuals.
Sure.
Like whenever a dispute happens in any other sport or game, it's like, well, you won't fight me though. Like that's always what people like, you know, revert back to. Like, oh, you beat me at soccer or ping pong, let's go, you know. So for me, it feels really good to like go out there and just know someone's trying to like beat you up, and the only thing that's going to stop them is if you do the same. And it's kind of freeing because it's like the only time in life where you don't have to worry. Well, I mean, I still do worry, but you don't have to really worry too much about being the bad guy. Because when you're fighting somebody, you're always the bad guy. And it's kind of freeing to go out there and just, let loose and like, engage with somebody on that type of front. And it's not really exhilarating. It's more like freeing. It's like when you fight, it's like the only time in life where like you're 100% in something. I'm not thinking about anything else when I fight. It's almost like meditation.
You really like what you do for a living. They say if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. So you're not working, right? I mean, you're having a blast.
No, I just work out, and sometimes I get black eyes. Like it's a pretty awesome life. I don't take a lot of punishment, and I don't have too many crazy injuries like that aren't, besides the whole few nagging things. And I get to like wake up, spend time with my baby and my wife, go do something that I love, and come back at a reasonable time. And I feel like every day is significant. And I'm not sure I could ever like live a life like where I'm on a 9 to 5 for like 30 years. My mom did that. My mom, she got pregnant in high school. Wow. And she raised me and my family, my siblings on her own. And I always just watched her like live this like life of like desperation, like really sacrificing, really grinding. And it like was terrifying to me. I didn't want to have to live my life for somebody else, for somebody else's business, for somebody else's happiness. I wanted to like find my person, and I did that. And I wanted to like, shape our future and our happiness with like my own two hands. And I have complete control over that. And I'm super blessed. And I'm just super surprised like how fortunate I am, like so early. It's working out so well. And I just wouldn't trade for anything else right now.
I tell you make it very hard to root against you. How the hell could anyone root against Jordan Leavitt? I mean, it's nuts. Let me know in the chat if you're going to root against Jordan Leavitt. I want to ask you, video games. You still playing video games? I noticed in another interview that you mentioned something about Fortnite and this and that. Do you deprogram with video games at all?
I don't play Fortnite. I remember I was talking about like meta and how games, like the strategies in games really they happen exponentially, the way they change and alter, and how people like video game theory is very interesting in the way, especially in games like Fortnite, Battle Royale games. It just is a super interesting comparison when you do it to fighting about how fast the game evolves. Because video games and fighting are like the two main sports, like esports and fighting. They're the two sports that have developed entirely during the internet age. So they develop faster than any other sport ever will because of the internet and the access to information. So I don't really play Fortnite. That's like my little brother's generation.
I was worried.
I play Mass Effect.
Mass Effect. What about a game named Elden Ring that is sweeping, everyone's going crazy over?
I'm playing Dark Souls right now, and I have to finish it because it's been ruining my life for a few months now. But I'm very interested in Elden Ring now. Those games like Dark Souls, Elden Ring, it's kind of like, toxic relationship. It's like if you date, women that are bad for you, it's like, it's not good for you, but sometimes you keep coming back. It's like, it has everything you need, but they punch you in the face every hour or so. And it's very interesting. I definitely see the appeal, but it's frustrating. But it's also feels really good to succeed to accomplish something very difficult in those games. They are difficult.
Yeah, we have a gaming channel, and I'm horrible at games. And I'm like, should I get this game? And everyone's saying how hard it is. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll pass. I don't know. Maybe I'll watch people play this. So you're saying pass in those style of games if you suck?
If you want to enjoy something, if you're the person who lives life for the joy of it, Dark Souls and the affiliates are probably not the game for you.
All right.
But if I want you to imagine this, okay? You meet a girl and she's perfect in every way. You click on everything, and she's just your dream girl. But every 15 minutes, no matter what, she punches you in the nads. Okay, that's kind of how Dark Souls is. Like it's like an amazing game, but it's just so painful to love it.
It sounds like my current marriage. When Jesse comes in, it sounds like exactly the same thing. Jordan, we got some people in the chat. Hey, chat, if you have any questions, would you like to field some questions from our live chat?
Sure.
I promise no dick pics or anything. I can't guarantee after the stream, but no dick pics to Jordan. Chat room, if you have any questions, MMA Holes, let us know. Here's your time to ask a UFC fighter 9-1-0, Jordan Leavitt, who is looking to take on another victory, go 10-0. I mean, double digits. How exciting does that sound?
Pretty crazy, especially considering like 2 years ago I had 3 fights. And fights happen so much easier now that the stakes are so much higher. It's pretty cool. I get to compete a lot more often.
There you go. All right, I'm going to dive into the chat right now. Gnome says Glover or Yuri. Ooh, that's a tough one there. Glover Teixeira or Yuri Prochazka?
I think Yuri's he's not gonna gas when he rocks Glover. Glover always gets rocked right away, and then he walks through and gets the takedown, and then grinds people out and they gas. Glover has the best cardio of any light heavyweight I've ever seen. Even when John Jones whooped him for 25 minutes straight, Glover looked like he can go 5 more rounds. So I think Yuri and his crazy finishing rate is going to, it's going to run over Glover. But if it gets out of the second round, Glover all the way. But I guess it's kind of the case for all Glover fights.
There you go. Brewster in the chat wants to know, how do you feel about judging in the UFC?
It's not good, not great. A lot of judges, and it is a hard job. Okay, so fighting is not just point scoring; it's also performative. So like the narrative of the round matters. So like it shouldn't, like a flurry at the end of a round after you're kind of getting pieced up shouldn't win the round for you. But in the way that it affects the narrative, like the story of a fight, sometimes judges are swayed by that. And do I think it's ever going to really be fixed? Not while we don't have live scoring. I really feel like scoring should be live. There's no other game or sport in the world where you don't know the score. So I think it's really bad, and I think they don't really want to fix it. Because controversial decisions, make a lot of activity. A lot of people will watch a fight several times over if they think it's controversial. It's like, I watched this a dozen times, and I still think this decision's crap. I don't think the UFC really has much of a financial reason to really solve the judging issue.
It's funny. I was going to actually ask you about open scoring. I noticed ARIEL HELWANI yells about that a lot, that he would like to see that. So you're a fan of that?
Yeah, 100%. I think it makes perfect sense. Kansas is doing it, Invicta is doing it for some of their cards. I think it's great.
There you go. Bruce Banner, is that the real Hulk? I don't know. Says top Stephen King book.
Okay, so in terms of like my emotional connection to it, The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon, essentially about like a little girl getting lost in the woods and like, basically die of starvation and being a victim to the elements. I read it right after my daughter was born, and I had a very visceral reaction to that book. And Stephen King, he has a very well-deserved reputation of having horrible endings to his books. The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon had me crying at the end. Perfect. I love that. The book I feel the strongest feelings for. The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon.
There you go. Well, Jordan, I got 2 more questions, then I'm going to let you go. I appreciate your time. One of the questions is, well, my brother, like I said, my brother's son has the celiac disease, and he thinks it's the end of the world. He thinks his kid's going to be like, you're a success story. You're in the UFC. You're living with it. Can you do me a favor? His name is Mike. Say, hey, Mike, your kid's going to be okay. Can you help me out? Because he's all worried and stressed out about celiac disease. Can you help me out?
Hey, Mike, it's just bread. It's just wheat, barley, and rye. Your kid has 99.999% more of all the foods in the world to eat. And it's going to be okay. You just got to learn how to cook.
There you go. All right. Thank you, Jordan. I needed that because I'm telling you, he thinks it is the end of the world. I don't know what to do. He freaks out when they got to bring him to parties and stuff like that. He thinks he's going to fall apart. But there you go, Jordan. Thank you so much. Hey, man, if there's any shout-outs, now would be the time to do that.
No shout-outs. Just want to say thank you to all my supporters and fans and my team at Syndicate and the UFC. And, yeah, if you want to follow me, Monkey King UFC. I'm so glad I was able to come on. Thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for coming on, and we're looking forward. Prediction in your next fight against Victor Martinez, what do you say?
First round finish. That's what I'm aiming for. I think that's what I'm going to get.
I'm putting my money on you. I don't give a shit what happens. I'm putting my money on Jordan Leavitt. Hey, Jordan, thanks for coming on. Good luck in your upcoming fight, and can't wait to speak to you again.
Yeah, me too. It's been fun. I'll talk to you next time.
There we go. Jordan Monkey King Leavitt live on the MMA Holes. Let's go, baby. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you think in the chat. as Jordan Leavitt gets it done on the MMA-Holes. He survived one of our interviews. Look at that. I tell you what, I'm happy he came on. And now it kind of makes sense. I notice a lot of fighters, they'll give you like one-word answers in DMs because they're dealing with so many knuckleheads. And when you got a guy like Jordan who, I mean, like, he was very honest. Like, he's a flamboyant fighter who has his own style, his own shtick. You look at his Instagram, and, it makes you scratch your head. But when you talk to the guy, it's just him. It's just who he is. He's just doing his thing, having a little fun out there. His Instagram's hilarious. I would give him a follow. It's Monkey King _UFC. But he has a little fun with himself. He's just having a good time. Here he is with Roxanne Modafferi. Not BFFs, good friends, but not BFFs apparently, according to Jordan. But he's just chilling out, doing his thing. So thank you, Jordan Leavitt, for coming on, and appreciate the time. Now, be honest in the chat. Are one of you guilty of sending Jordan dick pics? Which one of you is guilty of sending Mr. Leavitt dick pics? I need to know. I need to know immediately. I got to do something really quick over here that I forgot to do before the show. So let me pop this in real quick. But let me know in the chat. I need to know. And as I wait for your responses, and hit the like button, friends, if you haven't done so yet. I'd appreciate that. Smash that like button. I'm going to download something in the background that I completely forgot to do. All righty, here we go. All right, Mosh, you need to clip the part about Strickland telling him he should put the gay thing. I mean, it seems like anytime someone tells a story about Strickland, it's so clippable. Showing Sam Alvey, Chris Curtis as well. And they're all kind of linked together. Jordan's out of Vegas, so he's kind of training with all those guys. Vegas has some, killers. Complete killers. We're going to get into the Michael Chandler situation, Tony Ferguson, that basically dropped before we went live. Arizona, you got another fight. Chandler versus Ferguson. So I'm going to want to get your thoughts on that. Stipe versus Tuivasa. You got UFC Vegas 50. You got JBM coming in. If Jordan can deal with this chat, he can deal with anything. I can only imagine. I can only imagine what people are saying to him in the DMs, because think about our fight reaction. We were like, this guy's definitely gay, but he's cool with it. Like, he's very open, and that's respectful. Like there's some guys that beat around the bush. They're all serious and all business. He's lighthearted. That's how most of these guys should be. If you think about it, any aggression you have, you channel it inside that octagon. You have every chance to get all your emotions and aggression out. And it seems like Jordan's the type of guy that utilizes that. Not many of us get that opportunity. You got the live chat where you can get your aggression out, I guess. Stipe versus Tui. What the fuck? Yeah, that looks like that's happening. That's kind of crazy, right? Which fight is more exciting? I know probably we're gonna pick, but Tuivasa is a guy that he's on it. He just smashed Derek Lewis, for God's sakes. What fight are you more excited about? Let me know in the chat. The Stipe Tuivasa fight or Ferguson versus Chandler? I want to know in the chat what you're more excited about before we really dive into this. Where there's smoke, there's AIDS. Kainoda said something in there that I almost broke. Almost. And I held it together. I can't remember what the line was, but he almost broke me for a sec. I pulled it together, though. I didn't. Tuivasa smokes salsicha. Stipe. Interesting. Ferguson versus Chandler for sure, since Ferguson hasn't fought in so long, and I want to see him fight. So Benji's got Ferguson Chandler. Chandler for sure says mushy. I want to see Stipe Muay Thai. Oh boy. So maybe, you know what? Hold on. Let me put a poll. I thought it was gonna be a landslide. Okay, let's see. More. Hold on a second. Excited for? Okay, I'm going to drop this in the chat. Okay, this is actually pretty interesting. I'm going to drop this in the chat and get your thoughts. In fact, this is what I'm going to do. Before I drop it in the chat, I'm going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to have the poll running. We're going to have Jesse in the mix. We're going to get to the news, the whole deal. So we'll be right back, friends. If you missed Jordan Leavitt, run it back when the stream is over. Jump in our comment section. What do you think about Jordan Leavitt? I thought he was great. Hopefully I minded my P's and Q's. All right, we'll be right back.
Let's be honest, when it comes to underwear, there's nothing more important than comfort. Why empty your pockets for generic underwear that loses comfort, quality, and style when you can slip into a pair of Sheath and get even more out of your daily wear? With Sheath underwear, you can treat your jewels like royalty as they are given their own private sanctum, keeping them secure and you in a state of bliss. Get 20% off Sheath now using promo code MMA-Holes. That's MMA-HOLES with the link in the description below.
And for the ladies?
Absolutely! Sheath isn't just for men. Ladies can now experience Sheath's style, comfort, and functionality too. Sheath for women is crafted using a signature modal elastane fabric blend for form-fitting breathability that will not affect the natural pH environment or the microclimate of the skin while producing that long-lasting, unimpeded comfort. Use promo code MMA-Holes, MMA-HOLES for 20% off at sheathunderwear.com.
Yeah. Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah. Please tell me all the bad, never good, fill my head full of every single doubt, yeah. Please say any negative thoughts, I pop off when I hear people say I cannot. I get off to the thought of...
All right, shut up, fake Eminem. Not time to get crunk. It's time to get back into the show. Let's go.
Wonderful.
All right. Anyway, yeah, so I got that poll running in the chat. Let's see. Keep voting away there. Ferguson, Chandler, Stipe, Tuivasa, what you're more excited about. And it's almost 50-50. Ferguson versus Chandler is in the lead. Let's pull this here. All right, there we go. There's the poll up there. We got 42 votes. Get your votes in quickly and swiftly because I'm not going to leave this thing up all stream, but I'm curious, like, is it going to be 50-50? What's going on? Ferguson Chandler is the one that I would think people would be a little bit more excited about, but when it comes to Stipe versus Tuivasa, I mean, you're talking next person can get a title shot. So I think more is on the line at stake. Ferguson Chandler, though, basically is not saving a card, but severely helping a card that needed it in UFC 274, the one in Arizona, which has Gaethje versus Charlie Olives. Great fight. But the rest of the card, it's got a couple of decent fights, and then people are complaining. So it did need something like this to be on it. So Chandler versus Ferguson dropped on that thing. Well, they verbally agreed. Hopefully it is completed very soon. But it looks like it looks like the UFC is going to be able to pull that together. All right, let me get rid of this thing over here. Poor Tony, dude. He wants to get back on track, and they are making him fight a killer. Well, if you look at Tony Ferguson, it's not necessarily a terrible fight, because what would you give him? You drop him with a fight too far in the rankings, you're kind of out of the mix. If he could beat Michael Chandler, which is not a layup, I get it. Michael Chandler is very tough, Bellator champion, this close to winning the UFC title. But still, limited experience in the UFC. Did lose 2 of those fights. Of the 3 that he was in, the only fight he won was Dan Hooker. So we still don't know for sure if Michael Chandler at this stage of the game is a top guy. We don't. We just have Hooker. Now, he's fun. As a fan, I would always root for Michael Chandler. I think he's very exciting. But Tony Ferguson's been in the game for a minute. Tony Ferguson was on that legendary run. Yeah, it didn't work out. He was an interim champ. But Tony wins this, boom, right back into the title contention. Does he want to fight Charles Oliveira again? I don't know if he wants that to happen. But if Charles Oliveira loses, Gaethje wins. I know Gaethje beat Ferguson, but who knows? I mean, you never know. Maybe the old Kukui could come back and get another shot. We'll see. Or if Makhachev, think about this. Islam Makhachev beats Dariush, and Islam fights the winner of Gaethje and Oliveira. Islam is the champion. Tony Ferguson beats Chandler. Then you got the Islam-Tony fight that people wanted Habib-Tony, the next best thing. So, I mean, you never know. I know a lot of people are very, low on Tony Ferguson, and I get it. You know, the guy is clearly, his head is getting a little more crazy. But let me just pull up his resume here, Mr. El Kukui. We can't just completely sleep on Tony. Now, I'd probably pick Michael Chandler in this fight. Okay, I'm probably going to pick him. But it would be very naive of me. I know he is 38 years old, but it would be naive of me to say, okay, well, it's a guaranteed lock. Dariush is a savage. And the people that shit on Dariush or just forget how good he is, the guy is very, very good. So Dariush gets the decision. Oliveira decision. You do notice this. Let me just say this. Tony Ferguson, I know it was ugly, but he did go to the distance. He did go to distance against Charlie Olives. Now, it was a 3-round fight. I understand Poirier, 3 rounds, but Poirier got choked out. Say what you will. Dustin Poirier got choked out. Now, I don't know, in a 5-round fight, maybe Kukui gets choked out. I don't know. Maybe it happens. I don't think it does. I think El Kukui lasts a little bit longer than Poirier. The Gaethje fight, El Kukui was battered, but he went to 5 rounds. He got finished at the very, very end, but he wanted to keep going. The guy's a beast. He's a tough son of a bitch. The 3 guys that he lost to, Dariush, Oliveira, Gaethje, are all top 155ers. I'm just playing devil's advocate here. I'm probably going to pick Chandler. But if you are a Kukui fan, you still have some sort of hope. Because if you look at Michael Chandler, let's be honest here. The only person Michael Chandler defeated in the UFC is Dan Hooker. And Dan Hooker, why am I clicking all the wrong things? Dan Hooker is going down a weight class. Think about it. Makes the fight very interesting. Makes it interesting. Now, he did, in the first round of the Oliveira fight, he did have a chance. The title was right within his grasp. And it slipped through the fingers and he got finished. But Dan Hooker is the only UFC win. Not like Dan's a bum. Dan's a tough guy, but he's not a champion in any way at 155. Now, we'll see what he does at 145. But at 155, no mas. So it's a very good fight. It really is an incredible matchup. The thing that's not on Ferguson's side is age, but look at Chandler. He's only 2 years younger. It's not like Michael Chandler's a spring chicken. Mikey Chan's coming off a freaking war where he didn't fight very intelligent. Think about it. He just wanted to put on a show. Are you not entertained? Michael Chandler screamed to the crowd afterwards. Just threw game plan right out the window. And if he does that with Tony Ferguson, who knows? Could be a problem. Could be a problem. Ferguson could come in from all different directions. It is not an impossible fight for Tony to win. It's not. Now, I am a little bit more of a fan of Chandler. I don't know. I just like his style. So I'm probably going to root as a fan for Michael Chandler. I might be a little biased in this situation, but I am very realistic in the fact that even though Kukui is on a 3-fight losing streak, you just can't count the man out. You can't. Now I'm going to pull the poll down because people want to see Ferguson versus Chandler. But I'm going to ask the people this next because this is the topic, man. This is the big topic tonight. Who is going to win this fight between Chandler and Ferguson? I know what Jesse's going to pick. But what is the chat going to pick? So I'm going to say who wins? Let me drop this in here. Okay. We're going to put Michael Chandler. We're going to highlight, throw him in there, since my highlighting's faster than my typing. And I'm going to put Ferguson. I'm going to ask the people who we got, who's winning, as I drop it in the chat right now. Let's see how this goes. Now, there's recency bias with Michael Chandler, but how much bias is there? He lost his last 2 fights. We got a guy with a 3-fight losing streak, a guy with a 2-fight losing streak. Yes, they are fighting the top guys. I tell you what, and if everyone is super hard on Chandler winning this fight, there might be a part of me that's going to be rooting for El Kukui. It would be wild if El Kukui takes out Michael Chandler. It would be absolutely wild. Let's look in this chat over here as the poll is placed in. 72% right now picking Michael Chandler. Get your votes in. KO early second round says Kainoto. Oh boy, you guys are very, very confident. Interesting. A KO. It took Gaethje 5 rounds to knock him out. It took him 5 rounds. And the way the Chandler Gaethje fight was going, I mean, Gaethje might have knocked out Chandler in the 5th round. It's interesting. What does that mean? You changed your vote because of what we vote. What does that mean? You change your vote? No, I changed who I root for. That's exactly what I said. I might. Because I got to be honest with you. I like an underdog. I like an underdog story. I don't mind it. And El Kukui is kind of getting shit on. Maybe not for all the right reasons. He is getting older. That's one thing I got to throw out there. And his best days have to be behind him, yes. But Michael Chandler's 36. He's 2 years younger. You're acting like Chandler's like fucking 26. You know what I'm saying? Now, mentally, Michael Chandler probably has it together a little bit better. But does that help him in the fight? No. Because look at Michael Chandler's fight against Gaethje. He wasn't really mentally in it. He was fighting with his pride. It's a fantastic fight. Tony Ferguson has the weapons to slice you up, carve you up, right? He's got those weapons. He's long. He's longer than Chandler, right? Was he 5'11" to 5'8", 76-inch reach to 71.5. Kukui's elbows are as long as Chandler with his fingertips out. Watch out for the slicing attack of El Kukui. Spinning elbows, shit from off the bottom. He can cut up Chandler and finish him with a doctor stoppage. It's not impossible. Michael Chandler has a lot of weight on his shoulders here. Yeah, he's not in for a long time. He's in for a good time. But he's only beaten Dan Hooker. And it kills me to say these things because I like Michael Chandler and I've always rooted for him. But I have to be unbiased here. I have to fucking play both sides. El Cucuy, he's got a shot. And he's got a lot of chances to win this thing. It's not like, oh, Chandler smash, it's over. When was the last time Ferguson was just taken out in the first round? Has it ever happened? Gaethje in round 5. Yep. Michael Johnson, unanimous decision. Which is kind of crazy if you think about it. I mean, it's just nuts. That's many moons ago over there. Think about it. It's not like Cucuy just gets fucking knocked out in the first round. Like, I don't understand. Like, I mean, to say, oh, Chandler's going to go there and flatline him in the first round, that's not happening. So if that can't happen, if you think about it, if Ferguson is just that type of fighter that doesn't happen, and the longer this thing goes, who knows? Maybe it favors Tony. It's kind of it's a kind of wild fight, man. This is a perfect matchup. Perfect. Now, the only thing I got to say is, well, it's been 9 months. Okay, it's not that bad. I thought it was longer for some reason, the Dariush fight. Okay. Dariush is a G. An absolute G. Let's see what the chat has to say. I'm curious. Now, listen, I'm playing devil's advocate because I'm still a bigger fan of Chandler. That's just me. But put some respect in Tony's name. And this fight here is more competitive than the Jorge fight with Colby Covington. Just saying. Close only counts in horseshoes, hand grenades, and shitting yourself. It's a good underdog pick. It's a gamble either way. Probably Chandler's safer bet, though who knows? Yeah, I mean, you don't. That's what makes this fight great. Chandler should be the favorite, but why? Who did fucking Chandler beat? Dan Hooker? I mean, he beat Eddie Alvarez back in the day in Bellator. I mean, you can hang your hat on that. But if you think about it, as much as I'm a big Michael Chandler fan, as much as I was running around saying, hey, Khabib left because of Chandler, I like Chandler a lot. But we've seen 3 fights. We've seen 3 fights. That's all. That's all we've seen in the UFC. Oh, weird, you're right. Feels like Ferguson hasn't fought in like 2 years. But it's only been some months. Yeah, Benji, it's only 9 months. I honestly thought I was going to see like a year and a half or some shit. People forget about that Dariush fight. And that's the one thing about Dariush. I don't like, we're all sleeping on that, man. That guy's in the mix. And we're just like, yeah, no one cares about him. Bring on Islam. Gaethje broke Ferg in the 5th round. Took 5 rounds. Gaethje broke a lot of people early. We've seen more than 3 fights in Chandler. So you're comparing Bellator fights to the UFC? Here's my job as a host. As much as I love Michael Chandler, as much as I root for Michael Chandler, and I've picked him in... I don't think I picked him against Oliveira. Did I? I can't remember. But I picked him against Hooker, which people were yelling at me. By the way, I got into a million fights about that because I picked Chandler over Hooker, and I went ballistic when Chandler won. I can't remember who I picked in the Oliveira fight. I think I might have picked Chandler. I think I might have got that one wrong. I picked him over Gaethje. I did. I picked him over Gaethje. I'm a fan of Michael Chandler. I am. Like, I picked with my fan hat on. But I have to try to find the other side. And with the Covington fight, I do like Colby a little bit better than Jorge when it comes to just being a fan and watching him. I don't have nothing against Jorge, but other than his fans. But Colby Covington, he's fun to me, right? But there was no way I could find the angle of Jorge winning that fight. In this situation, I could make a million arguments. Tony could lose, but I could make a million arguments why, hey, he might win this thing. All the evidence is what I just said. The resume. Never been knocked out early. 5th round, he got broke by Gaethje. But, I mean, he went the distance. He went the distance with Oliveira. Michael Chandler didn't. Just saying. You got to be somewhat unbiased. As much as I am a fan of some of these fighters, if I see things going the other way, I got to say, whoa, hold on. There's a chance here. to just completely discredit Tony Ferguson in his career. I mean, it's crazy. Now, Jesse comes in, don't worry. You'll get that. Jesse's not going to see the other side. I think she's going to say Chandler's going to mutilate him. But I got to see both sides. I'm curious what the line's going to be on this fight. I'm curious what the lines are. I'm sure they have early lines. Let's see. The chat poll has Chandler at 69% over Ferguson 31%. That makes sense. I'm not surprised. Drunk Savage. Let me know what you think, because I know Drunk Savage is a Ferguson fan. Let's see what Drunk says in the chat. I'm curious, because I know he's a Kukui fan. Told you decision Covington, says Ashley, and I told you the same thing. So we're on the same boat. Tony looks took too much damage. He will never be the same. Mentally, yes, I agree. I do agree with you. Mentally, when you hear him interviewed, Michael Chandler has way more brain cells left in his head. No doubt about it. I don't know about after the Gaethje fight. He might have lost a couple there. But, yeah, I'm with you on that. But look at his resume. The 3 losses he had are actually decent guys.
Chat.
What do we got here, Afif?
I hate to say, but Chandler is too expensive and sleeps Tony. I wish to see Tony Conor. And lastly, what do you think of Lee versus Diego on Eagle FC?
It's funny, when we had Jordan on, we asked him about Diego and Eagle FC, and he now he's a UFC fighter, for God's sakes, and he was like, everyone is saying the same thing. I want Diego Sanchez to win so fucking bad. Could you imagine Diego Sanchez sleeps Kevin Lee? But at this stage of the game, no, I feel like Kevin Lee is just a bad matchup. I do. I don't think it's right. I kind of agree with Jordan on this one. But we'll be reacting to it Friday night, so stay tuned. Hit the notification bell. Love to see what you guys think about that. Drunk, if it was 5 rounds, I'd bet on Tony to knock out Gas Chandler. Let's see. I want so bad for Ferguson to win, but I think Chandler will take it to him. Okay, so that's good news. It's good news because you thought Ferguson beats Khabib, right? So now you're going against, because you know Khabib would destroy Ferguson, right? So maybe Drunk is the key to Tony Ferguson getting this right. We need Drunk to stay with that logic. We need Drunk to stay with that. Chandler ragdolls Tony. Yeah, but Tony off the back has no problem with that. Ragdoll him all you want. Tony could just carve you up from the bottom, right? Chandler inside the guard of Tony, I think, can get some work done, yes. Is he going to submit him? Is he going to just ground and pound him? Is that what you see? You see like him rock him with something, bringing him down, and then ground and pounding him? I think if he's going to take him out, it's got to be on the feet. He's got to flash him quick. He's got to flash him quick with that little mighty strength of his. It's going to be a damn good scrap. Think about it. Michael Chandler had that fight with Gaethje. Was like fight of the year. This is another one. This is like, you might as well just give him the reward now. No matter what happens in this fight, what the outcome is, which way it goes, this is going to be a barn burner. This is nuts. I know Gaethje is in the main event, but Charles Oliveira, I think, is going to nullify Gaethje's attack. This one here, this is just going to be a bloodbath. There will be blood in this fight. The question is, whose blood will be spilled more? Love it. Love this fight. I want to look at the card. Phoenix, Arizona. Oliveira, Gaethje. You had Donald versus Lozon. I know Ann's pumped up, but majority of the people kind of like, all right. You know, really? 2 guys that are legendary, really. I mean, Lozon, you got to give Lozon some credit. He doesn't get as much credit as he deserves. Mr. Massachusetts he's a tough son of a bitch. He's got a good gym. And it's a good fight. Cerrone versus Lozon. But, you know, it's not a casual's dream. St. Preux, OSP, the man who signed that hat against Shogun. I mean, what are we doing? Did you know if either of these guys are still in the UFC? I mean, OSP, what a flop, man. I like OSP. There was a time he was fighting John Jones. Like, this man fought for a freaking belt, for God's sakes. And then, not so much. Now, he did lose to Jamal Hill, who Jamal Hill is a tough dude. Tanner Bozer's a tough guy. beat Menafield, and then lost to Ben Rothwell. So it hasn't been a good run. But you got the Von Preux. He can hang his hat on that. And then you got Shogun, who's a legend. But, I mean, best days way. OSP is still in the UFC. I mean, I didn't think so either, to be honest. I thought Shogun and OSP were gone, to be honest. So they just threw them together, I guess. I don't know. Macy Chasson versus Norma Dumont. Okay. Macy's, she's tough chick. Norma Dumont, the Brazilian, 7-1-0. Yeah, she's on a nice little run. She's on a 3-fight win streak. Aspen, Felicia, Ashley Evans Smith, lost to Megan Anderson. Okay. I don't know. Maybe it would be. I mean, who knows? Lupita. Oh, you know what? I do like this chick, the Mexican Lupita Godinez versus Ariane Carnelossi. I like Lupita. That's a good fight. Oh, this is the girl from the Contender Series. Remember this little mighty girl? She looked like a little Thor. Holy cow. Where was the Contender Series? Where is it? Wait, didn't she come in from the Contender Series? What the fuck? I could have sworn she came in from the Contender Series. I'm completely wrong. All right, forget it. But I do remember this chick. Yeah, she's a tough son of a bitch. Or a daughter of a bitch, I guess. I don't know. Whatever you want to call her. Rear naked choke, ground and pound. All right, that's a good fight. That's a good chick fight. So the Macy Durman, a little nervous about, but Godinez versus Carnelossi is going to be good. But, I mean, look at these fights here. Oh, Brandon Royval. I like Brandon. Michael Johnson's still in the UFC? What? I thought he had like a podcast now. When was the last time he fought? It was March of 2021. Damn, it was the Guida fight. That's right. I forgot about that. I thought Michael Johnson just kind of like drifted away. Randy Brown versus Chaos Williams. Why is this on the prelims? Like, that should be on the main card. What are we doing? How many fights are on the main card? 1, 2, 3. Only 4? Okay, so maybe... this fight over here is this a banger. I've been trying to get Randy Brown on the show. He's been elusive. We follow each other on Twitter. From New York, right? Brooklyn? Oh, Queens. He's actually from Queens. Yeah, we got to get Randy Brown on here. Chaos Williams versus Randy. That's a good fight. But the card itself is I don't know why it only has 4 fights here. So I guess one of these other fights could be thrown on the main. It's got to be this. Randy Brown versus Chaos. Or you know what? This is a good fight to end the prelims to get you to buy the pay-per-view. But for a pay-per-view card, not very good, right? So they needed Chandler versus Ferguson on this in the worst way. Even with Chandler Ferguson, I mean, it feels like a fight night, doesn't it? It does feel like a fight night. As a hardcore fan, Trinaldo is a beast against Roberts. That's not a bad fight. But as a hardcore, okay, I'm in. But you're trying to sell a pay-per-view for $80, trying to fill a stadium in Arizona. Oof. But thankfully you got Michael Chandler versus Tony Ferguson. Looking at the poll, 90 votes, 68% say Chandler's going to beat Tony Ferguson. All right, we'll take it out. So we got Michael Chandler for the win. All right, what do you guys think? Is this a pay-per-view that you're going to buy? Are you pumped up about this? Let me know in the chat. Drunk Savages arguing. Nightbot, Clock Strickland, don't abuse your family, MJ. Oh my God. Why is MJ demand, just ignore him. Just let him ramble. Pretend he's not even there. Easy win for Chandler over punching bag Ferguson. Hell no. Hit the fucking like button. Not for nothing. Chandler was the punching bag in the last fight against Gaethje, no? I do recall Chandler being a punching bag. No? But I don't buy any of them for the past 10 years. Okay, fair enough. Wow. Well, MJ, you blab about random shit, so. And then you lure people in with the nonsense. It's contagious. No, MJ's not a troll. I just think he's got issues. That's all. Colby calls Olives Mr. Ed. He does look like a horse. You jack off to other men hanging on your broad. Oh, it's Strickland's burner. How you doing, Strickland? We were talking about you earlier. Probably, yeah, I get most of the pay-per-views. So Ark gets most of the pay-per-views. See, that's a hardcore fan right there. Gaethje is one of my favorite fighters, so I would buy this. So Sober Carl is in. I might buy it. I just got to... Guys, if you're new to the show, he's just looking for a little extra attention. So just like, don't... You're like falling right into his trap. And I'm falling into it right now addressing this. All right, let me move on. Let's go to the fights that are coming up this weekend. So we do have this fight night. Ankalaev is a pretty big favorite. In fact, I know he's going to win. It's just the problem is he's such a big favorite that you would have to bet an incredible amount in order to get anything. So let me just see. For shits and giggles. Or you could just hit the block button too, guys. Just hit the block and you never have to see him again. Let's see. Where is it? Here we go. So he's a minus 565. Oh boy. Let's see if I drop in this hundo. So $17. Oh God. $100 to win $17. See, that's a little ridiculous. It's not even worth it. All right, we're gonna have to find something else here. Let's see, Khalil Roundtree versus Carl Robertson. Oh, why am I hitting black? You want to play a little blackjack? Play a little blackjack on my bookie. Let's get this out of here. Drew Dober, Terrence McKinney. Oof. Should we take a gamble here? That would be fun. See, this is scary. Let me look at this fight. McKinney is on fire. Takes a fight on short notice. He literally just fought. Got a quick finish. Where is he? There it is. Dober. But Dober's a tough son of a bitch. He is on a 2-fight losing streak. Islam Makhachev, for God's sakes. Then you got Brad Riddle. Like, he is due for a win. He beat Alexander Hernandez. You know what? He beat Naz. He knocked out Nasrat. I mean, oh boy. This is a huge step. You know what? Fuck you. What do you think, guys? Should we just take the gamble? He's a kid. He's on my prospect list. So this is what I'm going to do. He's on my 2022 prospect list, Terrence McKinney. I think I'm going to pull the trigger. I'm going to go for it. This is a gamble and a half right here. Put a hundo on him, and bang, you win a $140. All right, I'm going to keep that in queue here. I'm going to keep that in queue. Oh, Alex Pereira's on the card, too. Hold on. Let me look at this fight. So this is this Saturday. This Saturday's card's better than UFC 274. Where's Alex Pereira? Caceres is on some run, too. Sadiq Youssef. Oh, that's a good fight. That's a good scrap. Caceres has looked possessed, man. It is nuts how good he's doing. Let's see. Here he is, Pereira. He is fighting. Wow, this guy's 22-6-0. Let's look at the 32-34, 6'6'4", 74-inch reach, 80-inch reach. On the line over here on my bookie. So this is the guy that smashed Izzy. It's the guy that smashed Izzy. Oh, fuck. Let's see. Where is he at over here, Pereira? Where are you at, Pereira? A minus 180. So he's a little bit of an underdog here. If we drop it on... Ah, shit, is the parlay. Hold on. Let me just see. On Pereira. All right, hold on. Let me do this again. Get all screwy here. My bookie.ag. I'll win $55.56. Oof. Okay. All right, I'm gonna discuss this with Jesse, even though I shouldn't. So McKinney is, man, he's someone that really is interesting me, but that would be a pretty big gamble. That's just a straight up gamble right there. Now I wonder if McKinney. Let's see this parlay. McKinney. Wow, Alex Caceres is a plus 205. Wow. Holy shit. That's wild. Alex Caceres is a plus 205. Imagine you parlay these guys, Terrence McKinney, Pereira, and Caceres. Oh, great googly muggly. Put a hundo on that. You win $1,038. Oh, my God. I said I wasn't going to do parlays, but that is juicy. That is a juicy fucking parlay right there. Holy cow. Caceres, Pereira, Terrence McKinney. What do you guys think about that? That's a very risky parlay. Pereira is the only one that looks pretty good, considering he's the guy that destroyed Izzy, right? But you never know in this game. Ooh, what do you guys think about that parlay? Alex Caceres is what the fuck? Hold on, let me look at this. Is this right? Sadiq Youssef is wow. Yeah. They're giving no respect. Youssef just lost to Arnold Allen by unanimous decision. Andre Fili. What the fuck? This is a great under right here. All right, this is what I'm going to do. Here, let's go. Jesse, welcome to the stream. Thinking out loud, my friends. No, you don't have to put it up. I had it down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. No, it just went up like an inch. Now you just turned down more than it was.
Check. I could hear it.
No, you're not going to hear it.
Wonderful.
You barely hear that. You turned it down more than a...
Okay. Can you put your headphones on or no?
No, it's fine.
Why are you so anti-headphones? Okay. Welcome, Jess. Okay. So a couple of things I want to touch base with you with. Older topics. By the way, Jordan was freaking fantastic. Jordan Leavitt.
I know, I missed it.
Very cool dude. Definitely watch that back. He is fucking awesome.
Definitely will.
And he addressed the gay thing full force.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, we had
what did he say?
Like half of our interview was about the gay thing.
Really?
He told the story about the dick pics.
I did walk in as I say that.
I was like, did someone say gay?
Oh my gosh, this kid.
That's why I would say put
She's
the
got
headphones
2
on.
new teeth coming in, so she is ready to go.
Tell me what you walked in on before you have to leave.
At the end, I walked in on him talking about having celiac disease, which was interesting.
That's cool, right?
Yeah.
I had him say something to my brother.
Yeah.
I made him say something to Mike. Okay.
Mhm.
So my brother now. Oh, okay. The baby's up. She was
it never ends.
She was tough to get down.
Yeah.
All right. So Jesse will be back soon. Yeah, it was wild when he said he had celiac disease. We've been going through this. It's celiac is messed up, man. Does anyone in the chat have that celiac disease? It's like you can't have gluten. It's a real you can get really sick from that. And it kind of makes sense why Jordan Leavitt has this physique here. Right? Like celiac is that type of, it bloats you and everything like that. But yeah, my brother's kid, my nephew's got it. You don't know what celiac disease is? Yeah, it's like I'm going to explain it wrong, but Jordan explained it right. It's just basically you can't have gluten, and you have to watch. You can cross-contaminate things. It's really messed up. You have to have gluten-free everything. It's really a messed up thing, and everything has gluten, like pizza, pasta, cookies. It's terrible. And my brother's got to go through this with the kid, and he's great. He's a great kid, but on top of it, he's got a peanut allergy as well. He legit eats the wrong thing, bang, he's in the hospital. He's in trouble. So. But it's they see a UFC fighter who marries a woman that has a celiac, and here he is, top of the game, doing his thing. Oh my God. Okay. All right. I'm kind of over it. It is what it is. Salt and beef jerky numbs and makes kids drool like a motherfucker. If you stop eating lots of gluten, you feel healthier. Yeah, apparently that's the case. Yeah, it's a messed up thing. If you think about it, all the bad stuff is loaded with the gluten. All the stuff you're really not supposed to eat in the first place. Everything has soy too, increases estrogen, makes limp-wristed men, but not a penis allergy. Yeah, it's just it's so. He's got mental illness. He needs help. He needs help. It's like to thrive for that much attention is crazy. Is there gluten-free pizza? If not, then I don't know. Yeah, there is. Jesse actually made it on the third channel. Anyway, I don't know. It's a conversation for another time, right? I got all down that road. But yeah, it's kind of cool that Jordan. If you missed Jordan's interview, it was at the beginning of this show. And I urge you to watch it. He really told some pretty cool stories. It was really interesting. Definitely the most unique fighter we've ever had on this show. There's no doubt about that. He is the most unique fighter on the UFC roster. And he's a super nice guy. So go check it out. I guarantee if you're not a fan, you'll become one. But I got to figure out where I'm making this bet. This is more important right now. All right, that's what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. Oh, shit. I would love to throw this parlay together, though. I would love to do it. But you know what? I said I wasn't going to do parlays. All right, so what won out of this group? All right, I'm going to do the Caceres bet. I don't know. This plus 205 is just too much fun. So I'm going to drop 100 on Alex Caceres to win $205. Here we do. We're confirming it. Let's go. And what I'm going to do as well, I'm not going to do a parlay. I'm going to just do straight up bets here. I'm going to do the McKinney bet. I'm going to drop a hundo on that. Let's see if this works. The McKinney bet. Now this is a straight up gamble to win 140. Let's go. So I got 2 unders there. All I got to do is basically win one fight, and I'm plus. I just got to win one fight. That's it. I win one fight and I'm plus money. Now the question is, do I go the triple for Caceres? Now, not Caceres. I mean Pereira. Pereira would be good if I was throwing him in the parlay. But I'm not going to do a parlay this time. If you want to take a gamble on a parlay, not terrible. The McKinney. Oh, hold on a second. Did I put this through? Hold on. Let me see my bets. What is going on? What am I doing? What am I doing wrong here? Oh, here we go. There they are. All right, so there's Terrence McKinney and Alex Caceres. All right, I'm going to leave it like that. And if something at the end of the week, the Pereira seems like he's going to win, but he's the favorite. So you're not, like if I bet 100 on Pereira, I'm not getting even money back. So I would add him in a parlay or something. What happened?
Nothing.
Yeah, I would get $55. So it's not really worth it. It's not worth it to me. Let's see, where is he on the card? I might make the bet while we're live. Pereira, he's kind of low. I could still do it. Let's see. So if shit, he'd be the first. I don't know. It's guaranteed. I don't know, man. Is it a guaranteed $50? I don't know. Don't forget to hit save. I did hit save on Goat Milk. I forgot to actually make like 4 picks. That's a first. Never pulled that off. Anyway, oh my God, this kid. And you gave her Tylenol already, right?
No, I didn't give her Tylenol tonight.
This poor kid's teeth. She's standing up. She won't go to sleep. Do you think it was because she slept in that crib twice today?
No, it's her teeth. It's 1,000% her teeth.
Alex got this. Yeah, I might as the week progresses, I might throw it on there, but not quite yet. Bruno Silva is a tough dude, man. So he beat Jordan Wright, Andrew Sanchez, Wellington Turman. So he's 3 for 3 in the UFC, all knockouts. Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. It's just not like if he was an underdog, I would think about it. I'm good. So I'm going to do the 2 underdogs here. All I got to do is win 1 to be plus money. That's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to play it easy. But if you want to do a parlay, it is interesting. Those 2 unders with McKinney and Caceres and Pereira. It's not a bad parlay. Let me know what your bets are for this card coming up this weekend. Your MyBookie bets. A teaspoon of blackberry brandy. You know what's funny? I've been having this heartburn. You know, you hit these events. Turned 45 yesterday. Wonderful. And you know, I've diagnosed with GERD and what's it called? You know, acid reflux, GERD, and what's the other one called? Why am I drawing a blank? Anyway, gastritis. That's what it is. And my acid reflux is through the roof. So I was looking up like things, and I want to get off medication. So there's like apple cider vinegar. Jesse's like, just do it. And I was watching these videos, like, it actually looks like it might work. So I'm like, all right, let me give this a go. So everyone's coming up with these concoctions of ED. No, not yet. Maybe next year. What's it called? So they were coming up with concoctions, and I'm like, I don't want to do some fucking fruity lemonade thing. I'm good. I just want to just down something really quick. So Jesse's like, well, let's just take the amount of apple cider vinegar they call for in the drink and just chug it down. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I get this double shot glass of apple cider vinegar, and I'm like, what is this going to taste like? I've never tasted apple cider vinegar. What is it? Like, I don't even know. Is it vinegar? What is it? And she's like, oh, I just down it and see what happens. So, of course, I listen like an idiot, and I fucking throw it right down my throat. Like a giant double shot glass. I mean, it might be 2.5 shots of this stuff. Boom, right down the throat. The immediate burn in my throat, like it's like I just tossed acid in my mouth. I'm like, what the fuck? And I felt it like slowly going down, and I'm like, what is going on? Like I was downing water. I still over here feel the burn from that shit. I still feel the burn from it, and just like, oh, you'll be fine. I'm like, I'll be fine. I'm like, then you do it. She wouldn't do it. Oh, it's bad. B-Man, if you want to do a challenge, do that shit. Take a double shot of apple cider vinegar. Throw it down your throat. It's worse than a shot of 151. In fact, I'd rather swallow fire. I'd rather swallow glass. I was like, what the fuck? Couldn't believe it. Just down it again to offset it. But I did notice, my heartburn's fucked up right now. But I did notice maybe like 15 minutes later, my heartburn did drop a little bit. So there is something to it. I got to mix it up. I got to dilute it or something. Jesse's definitely trying to kill me. There's no doubt. You get your advice from Joe Rogan. Yeah, there's no clinical studies really that say if that works. But if you look at the side effects, there's a medicine I'm taking called pantoprazole or something like that. Pantoprazole. I don't know how to say it. But if you're an old fart and you have heartburn, chances are you're on this shit. The side effects are so bad if you actually read them. They're terrible. Like, you got to get off that shit. So let me down acid and see if that works. Jesus Christ. I take the same thing. Theo, you take it? Yeah, see, that stuff doesn't work for me, though. The meds don't work. So I'm trying to find another way. They have apple cider vinegar pills. Oh, I should try that. It's got to be a pure cider, though. And Jesse's going to come back here. She'll tell us. What's the cider that we have? That's supposed to be. What's that cider that we have? The apple cider.
Apple cider vinegar?
Yeah, but what's like, you have to have a specific one, right? Like a pure one or something? I don't know. You said
pure one?
Remember it said on the thing that you had to have this specific one? And you said, oh, that's the one we have. All right, forget it.
I don't think it matters, honestly. Apple cider vinegar is apple cider vinegar.
No,
like,
they say on that YouTube video.
They don't add anything to apple cider vinegar. It's all the same.
Is it?
It's literally just apple cider vinegar.
But you did say, oh, good, we have that one.
I didn't say we have that one. I said we have apple cider vinegar.
Oh, God. I swear to God, when you get married, there's this bizarre disconnect. I don't know. Like, it's like the ring goes on and then bang. Like
I don't feel disconnected from you.
No, it's like, you ever notice, like, when we have arguments, it's like the dumbest arguments. Like, I'll listen back to strips like, this is so fucking stupid. Like, even, like, I feel myself, I'm in this weird vortex where we can't hear each other.
Do you think we're arguing?
No. I'm saying, no, I'm not saying we're arguing now. I'm saying the disconnect.
Yeah.
That weird disconnect.
I think anybody, I don't think you have to be married. I think if you live with someone long enough, because I did it with my parents when I lived with them.
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
I think if you live with someone long enough, you kind of like get, into your own way of communication and they get into theirs and then it just kind of clashes.
You could explain it like 14 different ways and the other person doesn't get it. It's strange. Yeah, maybe it is living with someone.
Yeah, I don't think it's marriage. I think it's just like...
I think it's marriage.
You're around someone so often. I don't fucking know.
All right, well, give me your thoughts on the Chandler-Ferguson fight.
You said that was going to be on the Justin Gaethje card?
Arizona.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Who wins?
Well, Chandler, no doubt in my mind.
I made an argument, and people were like, "Oh my God!" But like I said, if I just sit here and do the exact same thing you're doing, and say, "No, Chandler all the way, yippee-ki-yay!"
I mean, it's not hard. But here's the thing: I've been right about Ferguson for the last 4 fights now, 5 fights, whatever the fuck it was. Like I've been.
Yeah, but you've been wrong about Chandler too.
You're right. I have been wrong about Chandler, but I've been right about Ferguson, and that's all I have to really stand on. And I'm just gonna keep going.
All right, think about this logic. The UFC resume for Chandler, the only guy he beat was Dan Hooker.
Mm-hmm.
He got finished by Oliveira, and Ferguson went the distance. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not saying it's a guarantee that Ferguson's going to win, but I think that this is a pretty evenly matched fight. Do you think this is going to be a complete domination?
I do. I honestly, listen, I love Tony Ferguson. In no way do I want to, like, shit on him or anything like that. But, I mean, listen, Michael Chandler, he's got the it factor. You know, he did great in Bellator, and Ferguson's on his way out. You know, he's got a lot of mental shit going on.
What's that it factor? He was a punching bag against Gaethje.
No, I think Chandler's got the it factor in the UFC. And
so he's got the charisma, but I'm talking about a fight. Like, it doesn't matter how much charisma you have.
Yeah, fighting style as well. I think Ferguson's on his way out. I truly believe this. And it sucks to say because I freaking like Tony Ferguson so much.
So where is the evidence that you think Michael Chandler's not on his way out either? Because he's on a 2-fight losing streak.
Well, he fought against Charles Oliveira and Justin Gaethje.
Okay. And
those are not bums.
So did Tony Ferguson.
Uh-huh. You're right. But Tony Ferguson, I also said, had a lot of mental shit going on.
Well, I guess
I think that inhibits his ability to perform as El Kukui. You know, he comes in there, he performs as Tony.
Okay. What about Tony Ferguson being a 76-inch reach to a 71.5-inch reach of Chandler,
Doesn't matter.
His elbow will be literally the size of the jab
that's
pin.
what he's got to watch out for the slicing elbow. For sure.
I'm telling you, man. I have a feeling this is going to be a bloodbath. I feel like Ferguson's going to cut up Chandler.
Ferguson's going to come out and he's going to give it all he's got, but I still think Chandler is going to win this one.
Okay.
No, they're not the same age. I think Ferguson's about 2 years older.
Yeah, Ferguson's 38, Chandler's 36. So
I guess they're around the same age, but
yeah. So it's an interesting fight. It really is. And if you look at the actual amount of fights, they're almost identical. You know, Tony has a little bit more, but I mean, he's got a ton of UFC experience. But then again, that UFC mileage, Chandler's been in so many wars, and then you look at his last fight, and it's like, holy shit, man. Like, how many more wars can this guy handle?
Yeah.
You know? So regardless of the fact, this is like the battle of the brain damage. Like, these guys their faces have been punched so much. I wish there was a stat on how much their faces have been punched. These are both like the most hittable guys ever.
Yeah.
So here we go. Let it happen.
Let it happen.
It's a good fight, though. It's fun.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a layup, though, for Chandler. I don't. I'm going to pick Chandler to win, but I can't. I don't think it's complete.
a little bit of a layup.
You think so?
Yeah.
So how would Chandler beat him?
I'm going to go. I don't know if he can knock him out. But then again, I think he can. So you know what? I'm going to say Chandler by knockout.
Chandler by knockout. When was Kukui ever knocked out?
I just said I don't think he can knock him out, and then I turned it around.
Go. Justin Gaethje.
I'm going to go Chandler by knockout in
3 rounds. Ferguson's not getting knocked out. You think he's going to do it?
Chandler knockout in the 3rd.
Wow. You think Chandler's gas tank's going to hold up?
I don't know. I'm not really familiar with Chandler's gas tank, so I can't speak on that. I don't know how well he goes. Okay,
we'll see. It's a good fight, though. It really is. It really is. I'm looking forward to this. Do you like this fight better than the Gaethje-Oliveira fight? Do you think this is going to be a more fun fight to watch?
No, Gaethje-Oliveira is way more fun for me.
I think this is more fun.
There's two of my best guys out there for Gaethje-Oliveira. So, of course, I'm going to find it more entertaining.
Because it's more on the line. You have Justin Gaethje. I get it. And Oliveira is so much fun. You know, he's a fun guy to root for. But this here, this has all the makings of a bloody war, you know? Like a nasty, bloody war. So I'm actually looking more forward to this now. This is my main event. Let me know in the chat what you're more looking forward to. Jesse's got the main event. I got this fight here.
I can see ground and pound stoppage for Chandler, says Alex G. Strickland's burner says Chandler gasses out, ho. This is why you shouldn't talk as if Tony is washed. Well, listen, ho. Tony is washed, and you're just going to have to fucking deal with it. Georgie says, well, I've never seen Chandler fight, so I will go with Tony Ferguson from The Ultimate Fighter. But remember, Georgie, Tony Ferguson is walking into the cage on UFC 274, not El Kukui. Thoughts on Kevin Lee versus Diego? Are we gonna react to that much?
Yes.
Eagle FC?
Eagle FC is this Friday.
Yeah.
$50. Don't know if you do a double shot of AC Mos.
What's AC?
Apple cider. A double shot? He has no fucking... You couldn't pay me enough to do that. A double? Actually, I did a double shot. Oh, you mean...
He panicked.
She won't do it. How about this, Jess? If the offer's still up there for you to do it, would you do it for $50?
No, I'm good. I am totally good.
You'll survive. Wait, hold on a second. You were looking at me like, you're fine, you're fine.
Yeah,
so,
you were fine. You were fine. You're
okay,
fine
so
now.
for $50 you wouldn't do it?
But that doesn't mean I want to put myself through that.
My throat still feels like this glass.
Yeah, you'll be okay. I do believe you'll be okay, but why would I want to...
Do you not feel bad in any way that you said, just down it?
I didn't say down it. I did not say down it. I poured you the apple cider vinegar like you asked.
Yeah.
You said put it in a shot glass. You said measure out a quarter cup of water.
So if you
and
knew,
you matched it.
Okay. If you knew it was gonna be harmful,
I didn't know. I didn't know it was gonna be harmful. I had no idea.
Yeah, so you know I was gonna down it.
I didn't say down it.
Okay, but you knew I was gonna down it,
no,
right?
I did. I had no idea you were gonna just take a shot of it.
How was it gonna drink it like this?
Read your mind.
Was it gonna drink it like a glass of scotch?
I mean, it's vinegar. Nobody just fucking shoots vinegar.
Jess, it's vinegar. All the reason to down it. Like who's gonna sip on vinegar?
But you can't just assume I'm just reading your mind. Like, oh, he's gonna take a shot of vinegar.
Who the fuck? Let me ask you a question. If I told you to drink vinegar, you're gonna sit there.
Are you really blaming me for you making a stupid decision?
Hold on. I'm asking you a question. If I were to ask you, drink that vinegar.
Yeah.
You're gonna sip it?
I would taste test it.
You have to drink the whole thing.
I'm a cautious person, though. You know, I'm paranoid.
Okay,
so, of course, I would just fucking taste test it first.
Okay.
I would just fucking shoot it down my throat.
So if you know it's going to taste really bad, don't you just down it?
Not always, no.
Oh, my God. So you go back...
How am I supposed to read your mind and be like,
okay, hold
Mystic
on.
Moss is going to shoot 4 tablespoons of vinegar?
You're going to sip it and say, nah.
If it's fucking disgusting, or if I think that it's going to be horrible going down.
Of course it's disgusting.
So sorry, we don't think the same, Mr. Shoot 4 tablespoons of vinegar down your throat.
If something is gross, like a shot, you chug it, right? You don't just sip on it.
I think scotch is very difficult to just kind of like let linger on your tongue, but I still do it.
You have to with scotch.
You're
a fucking barbarian if you chug scotch.
I've seen you take shots of scotch.
I have. I was a barbarian.
Talk.
You sip scotch like a gentleman. You don't sip.
Fucking guy. Trying to blame me for his own horrible decisions.
But you don't sip vinegar. Who the fuck?
Not my problem. You're the one who did it.
Anyway, I had no idea it was gonna burn like a ball of fire, and now Jesse's pussing out. All right, all right, let me ask you a question. If I give you 5 minutes, to sip it, for $50
in 5 minutes,
would you do it? Put 5 on the clock, and you sip it.
Not tonight.
No. All right. Friday. Fuka Friday.
Sure.
All right.
For $50?
You have to finish it for $50.
In 5 minutes.
Yes.
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
That's
Here we go.
a sip per minute.
B-Man, I negotiated. Would you take that bet? 5 minutes on the clock. Okay. She could only take the first sip when the clock starts, and she has to finish. Now the double shot's fucking huge.
It was 4 tablespoons you took.
Whoa.
We measured
a double
4
shot.
tablespoons.
Yeah, it was a double shot. What the fuck do you think a double shot?
So 4 tablespoons is a double shot?
Jess, you fill up to exactly what you filled. Get the glass.
Nah, I'm too lazy to go downstairs.
She's scared. She's fucking scared. All right, will you do it?
4 tablespoons, yes.
Show them what it is then. Show them what it is.
I don't feel like going down there.
You are the worst, man.
Why?
Because I'm trying to...
It was your bet.
Okay.
You're just trying to turn it over
all right, if you don't want to do it, just say you don't want to do it.
I said I would do 4 tablespoons. I'll do it.
Okay, what's the difference between 4 tablespoons?
I don't know. I feel like you're going to try and amplify it.
No, you're going to drink exactly what I drank.
Fine.
Right? Okay.
Fair enough.
All right, so it's a double shot. So basically we have a Metallica shot glass around this big, okay? And it's filled up to apple cider vinegar, not completely to the top, a little bit from the top. Okay? Gee, like you're so obnoxious.
Obnoxious? You turned your bet onto me and you're over here accusing me.
Like, okay.
Are you kidding? Stop being a child. You're being childish, Moss.
Okay. Jesus Christ.
This guy.
B-Man. If you're still in the chat, I would have left by now listening to this fucking girl.
Oh,
if you're still in the
chat, what's the matter with you?
If you're still in the chat, let us know.
A penis tonight,
if you're still in the chat, let us know if you're interested in the negotiation. Okay? Oh my God, that was like fucking pulling teeth. Eric.
It's called raw unfiltered apple cider vinegar.
That's what it is, right, Eric? Yeah, Jesse is. It's like I'm living with 2 personalities here. So it's called raw, unfiltered. Apple cider vinegar. That's the one you have?
I don't know. I have no idea. I just know I have apple cider vinegar.
Okay, I'm going to get it.
I'm
going to get it so we have everything under control.
Like, typical of Moss, though, to blame someone else for his fucking stupid decisions.
No. Oh, my God.
I mean, can we talk about that for a minute? You can drink cider, yes. She tried getting less vinegar. I don't blame her. It was 4 tablespoons. I don't know. He's calling it a fucking double shot, whatever the fuck that is. My parents give if to their goats. She added more vinegar to get you back for the Ellie stuffed animal break. Maybe. I will travel Minnesota and buy merch from you guys if Jesse takes a shot. Yeah, I'm not going to shoot it, though. I'll drink it over 5 minutes for sure. I'm totally down for that, man. 100%. Because over 5 minutes, anybody could finish that, you know? Simple. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. What a joke, bro. Most Blinn twice if she makes you watch her fuck other guys. Oof. So Strickland's burner, I think, actually I have a couple theories about you, Strickland's burner, but either way, regardless of what those theories are, I think you are so envious of the situation we got going on here. And that's okay. I would be too. But I still love you. You're still allowed to stay in the chat. I'm not going to ban you for being a complete penis, but because that's what we harbor over here as penises. But I will say, one day you're going to come around and you're going to love us. You know, if you don't already. I mean, you do because you're here. But one day you're going to come around and things won't be so bad for you. You know? Can't spell for shit, says Jim Lit. Yeah. Thank you, Creamy. That was very, very nice of you. Sober Carl dropping the hemp leaves in the chat. Okay. What is it?
It's a nightmare.
All natural.
All right.
So it doesn't say anything about being. It's Heinz. It doesn't say anything about being organic or anything like that.
Whatever the hell this is. So I'm gonna mix it. I'm gonna dilute it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try with We're doing a whole show.
Water.
No, with that tea.
Oh,
with the chamomile. Yeah, I'm gonna try with chamomile tea, but just like a teaspoon. Anyway, this is the Heinz apple cider 1869 vinegar, the all natural choice for food. 5% acidity. I mean, this shit. It tasted like it was. It tasted like full blown acid. Here's a shot glass that I had. Okay, my Metallica shot glass, and I had it like up to here on the shot glass, and I just fucking threw it down. Try it for yourself. Drink it straight. It is brutal. 3 minutes and 5 minutes. 5 minutes is too easy, Jesse. You said 5 minutes is too easy?
I said I would drink it down in 5 minutes.
I don't know.
I said that's easy. 5 minutes. Yeah, that's what I said.
So you moved it to 3 minutes now because you said it was easy.
No, I'm not doing 3 minutes. I said 5 minutes.
You could do this in 5 minutes? There's no fucking way.
I said I would drink 4 tablespoons in 5 minutes.
Okay, Jess. Stop saying 4 tablespoons. It's like your weird OCD.
You didn't have it up to there. You're such a liar.
I swear to God I had it up to there.
You're lying. It was a quarter
all right, forget it. The bit's over. It's over. We're moving on. We're moving on from the bit. It's like she's not going to do it. She's dragged us around. All right, thank you for.
Why you like keep trying to pin this on me? Are you insecure or something?
No, you don't. Just say no.
I said I would do 4 in 5 minutes.
Okay.
There's no excuse. That's what I said I would do.
I'm taking the bet off the table. I can't handle it anymore. That's on you then. All right, let's move on. We didn't talk about Stipe and Tai Tuivasa. Okay, let's get into that. We spoke about Chandler and Ferguson, but we need to talk about Tuivasa and Stipe. Now, Jesse is not the biggest Stipe fan. So I'm curious who you would pick in this fight coming up. I have to say I am on the fence. I am not sure which way I'm going to go with this. I want to say Stipe's going to win, but Tai looks so good lately. I might be on the train. This is a crazy fight here. Let's see, Stipe Miocic. I mean, the guy is the greatest heavyweight of all time. Still, I mean, if you really think about it, even though he lost to Francis Ngannou, he beat Francis Ngannou. He beat DC twice. He did lose to him that one time. But what a run. What a run for Stipe Miocic. He hasn't been in the cage since the 3rd March 27th of 2021. So it's been a hot minute since Stipe been in there since that Francis fight. And it looks like they're trying to push him against Tai Tuivasa. Now, I think the hot guy right now is Tuivasa. He's exciting. He hops on that cage. He just smashed Derek Lewis. But are we going too crazy now? Like, are we like drinking the Kool-Aid? Are we all Tai Tuivasa? Or do people still believe in the former heavyweight GOAT, Stipe Miocic? Now, Jazz, I'm going to ask you, what are your thoughts?
Sorry, I was in the middle of responding to an email. Could you repeat your question?
Very simple. Stipe or Tuivasa?
Tuivasa.
Tuivasa? Mm-hmm. Okay. You confident?
Yep. Stipe should retire.
Okay. So there you go. Are you making the pick because you hate Stipe?
I don't hate Stipe. You don't have to progress your thoughts onto people. I don't hate Stipe. I just don't think he's going to win.
He bores me. I don't like watching him fight.
He bores me on the mic, I said, Moss.
Yeah. I don't like watching him fight.
What I'm saying.
I can't get pumped up for a Stipe fight, blah, blah, blah. I mean, you're clearly not a fan. No?
That doesn't mean I hate him.
Okay. Oh, so you like him?
I don't hate him.
Okay. All right. Let me rephrase it. Do you enjoy Stipe Miocic?
I don't enjoy watching him.
All right. All right. So unbiased. Like, if you take the bias away, though, you're picking Tuivasa?
Yes.
Okay. I wish I was like Jess, where I don't have to think about anything. I just say yes, no.
What are you calling me? I don't have to think about anything?
No, it's not what are you taking it as an insult?
That sounds a little weird, Moss.
I said I wish I could be like that. What is it? I'm not calling you anything. I said I wish I could be like that because it sounds liberating. Me, I have to think about every decision I make.
Like, I'm too busy overthinking things in real life, Moss, for me to have to overthink this.
So this is like, so if someone's like, so you wouldn't say people should bet on your thoughts then because you just so spontaneous.
I've never said that. If you want to bet on them, feel free, but chances are you're going to lose.
Yeah, I mean, she doesn't even think. She's just like, this person. You know, she doesn't even put any thought into it. There's nothing. Maybe that's good. I don't know. But I can't make a decision. I can't. Not right yet. It's just too early. So let's see what the chat says.
Ariel gains me as a fan because he kicked out Verdun and said I'm a world champ, says Georgie. Two Joint says Jesse Moss is calling you something. What am I calling him? Steve Ivers Lesnar says B-Man. Toe Cutter says white hater. Georgie says in the world of the great Joey Diaz. Levi Lindsay says Steve versus Ty. Oh, I think Ty too will get this. He's more hungrier with a stronger chin. Bruce says, oh shit. Bruce says 1 tablespoon is 0.5 ounces, so 4 would be 2-ounce shot. Proud Babylonian says message to JBM, Bryce Thug Nasty Mitchell is the GOAT. Okay. Passing the torch says 60-second. Jim Lay says all of you pick the fat drunk so Stipe can be an underdog. Stipe still has a run, says Drunk Savage. Jeremy Anderson says they pay someone $50 an hour to have this conversation. All Ty has to do is improve takedown defense, ground game, and clench if he's fighting Stipe. If DC couldn't beat DC, I don't see Ty can. If DC couldn't beat DC...
Well, you know what he's saying.
I don't see Ty can.
If DC doesn't beat Stipe, I guess. Mm-hmm. That's what he's going with.
Love you too, Sober Carl. Joey Diaz said, Lisa, that Stipe Miocic got off from Cleveland. Oh, God, I don't fucking know what anyone's saying anymore.
Here's your poll.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the poll, what everyone's thinking. So let's see. Let me get this out of the way. Well, what do you think here, Jess? 52% agree with you. It's pretty close. It started off with Stipe in the lead, and then Ty surged past him, and now Ty is in the lead with 54% of the 26 votes. So get your votes, and I'm curious what you guys think. Now Stipe took the lead. Wow, it's a close fight. I tell you what, I understand why it's 50-50. I get it. This is like one of those head scratchers. You know, like, should we fall in love with what Ty's been doing lately? I mean, he's so much fun. He's a very likable guy. He's good on the mic. He's fun in the cage. And then you got Stipe Miocic, who is the GOAT of heavyweight, but horrific on the mic. And Jesse hates him. So, there you go.
You're exhausting.
That's a joke. That was just joking. All right. Any news stories that like really stand out before we...
I haven't had any time to pull news stories, Moss, so we're going to have to go on a whim tonight.
All right. Well, I discussed the fights. What about bets here? Let me show you on my bookie. So I placed 2 bets. I want to know your thoughts on it. You're probably going to hate them, but that makes it interesting. So Terrence McKinney coming back. Short notice against Drew Dober. Terrence McKinney, who is on my prospect list, is a plus 140. What you say, Jess? What do you think? Is that a good bet, Terrence McKinney?
How much are you going to drop on him?
$100.
Then no, it's not a good bet.
No, it's a bad bet. Okay, there we go. What would you do in that situation with Terrence McKinney?
I wouldn't drop any money.
No money. So you're saying Dober for the win? Where are they? You would say Dober for the win?
No, I'm just saying I wouldn't drop money on it.
I know I'm passing them. I can't find
Yeah,
it.
it's like literally go up. Go up.
Where's that
Right
goldfish? There he is.
10.
There he is. So you're saying you think McKinney's going to win, but you wouldn't put money on Dober?
I said I don't know who's going to win, but I wouldn't put money on this fight.
Okay. Let's see. What about Caceres? Bruce Leroy is a plus 205 against Sadiq Youssef.
Mm-hmm.
You know who Bruce Leroy is?
Yeah.
Alex Caceres, who's on a massive win streak. This guy is shocking the hell out of me. He's got a tough guy in Sadiq Youssef. Youssef is at minus 230. What do you think about the Alex Caceres bet?
If it tickles your fancy, Moss, then go for it.
Would you recommend it, though?
I never recommend you betting on anything.
Okay. Looking at this card, what would stand out? Anything? Marlon Moraes?
What is the
Man?
odds for Santos Ankalaev?
Ankalaev is a massive favorite. Just so much where I couldn't even put money on him. Do you think Santos is going to win? He could. He came off to win Johnny Walker.
Yeah, let's put money on Santos.
What? This is your Barboza pick? All
Why?
right.
You think it's a Barboza pick?
Yeah.
Why?
I think Ankalaev is gonna do
Let's
work.
do it
man.
anyway.
No. All right, good. That's what I wanted. Thank you, Jess. I need, as long as I get my Barboza pick from Jesse, I feel good about my picks. All right, there we go. All right, chat. We gotta wind this thing down as it is getting past our bedtime. I appreciate you guys jumping in tonight. Make sure you hit that like button. Like I said, if you missed Jordan Leavitt, go give him a follow on his Instagram. This guy he's so freaking funny, man. This guy's great. What a personality. 9-1 UFC fighter. I mean, the craziest of celebrations. The most interesting guy in the UFC. If you want to see his interview, run it back. Drop in the comment section. What do you think about this pose, Jess? Should I do this more often during the show?
Yeah, can you make poses like that more often?
Sean Strickland, he said Sean Strickland told him to basically embrace the gay thing. Like, if he was him, he would embrace the gay thing and just go for it. Would you do that? Just go full force?
I think it's pretty hilarious, yeah. Because as long as you're confident in yourself as being a straight man, married, children, whatever, you're confident in that, then who gives a shit? Like, embrace it, have fun with it, make fun of it.
Yeah.
What
about this?
The only reason that he wouldn't embrace it
This guy's nuts.
is if he was insecure about it, which he's clearly not. So you keep doing your thing, Jelly Bean.
He's comfortable. And how about this? He met his wife all in the same time. Met his wife, had the baby, got signed to the UFC. Like, it all happened at the same time.
Good for him.
It's a crazy story, man. So it's actually a nice story. And then in, 3 years, he dumps his wife and runs off with Sean Strickland?
Oh, why would you say that?
Him and Sean? All right. Thank you for watching, friends.
Thank you so much to our sponsors, HeadRush, MyBookie.ag, Sheath, UFC and ESPN Plus, and Undisputed Belts. Promo code MMA-Holes. That's MMA-HOLES for all of your discounts on all of your favorite products. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. We will be live again on Friday night for Fuck-Off Friday at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell, and as always, don't be an a-hole, be an MMA-Hole.